Hi. There's an old saying, and I don't remember exactly how it was written, but it's something to the effect of those who don't remember history are doomed to repeat it. So I don't know who said that. I don't know exactly how it was written, but I know it's really important for us to keep an eye on history to see where we're at in the here and now. So I want to start off and I want to give you some examples of censorship, the worst cases of censors and censorship throughout history. First was a man named Mao Zedong, Z-E-D-O-N-G. I call him Mao the Dong, T-H-E-D-O-N-G, because he was. So when he ruled in China, the country was controlled by the Chinese Communist Party's intense censorship. And its goal was to prevent any outside influence in communist China. So Mao believed the Western part of the world could in no way benefit or understand the hardships of real communist China. So he took control of everything. And I mean everything. And he thought if he censored materials and information that was available to his people, that it would make for a better communist state. And that's just a brief example of Mao. It's really not much. There's a lot to be explored there. Trust me. This was a very, very evil man. There's also Nikolai Ceausescu. Now, I'm probably saying that wrong. It's spelled C-E-A-U-S-E-S-C-U. Now, while he was in power, the people of Romania weren't granted freedom of the press or speech or politics. One TV program ran for 2 hours every day and was full of political propaganda. And there were also radio programs and newspapers that constantly glorified the president as if he was a god. They deified this guy. And the propaganda was plastered everywhere and even took place in schools, of course. They had the children. Romanian communists not only censored music and literature, but their entire history during his regime was completely and totally falsified. So give me a second. My computer's loading slow. I've made some notes here. The next one is, well, maybe you've heard of this guy. Maybe you haven't. If not, you should look into him. But it's this really obscure guy that was named Adolf Hitler. Everyone knows Adolf Hitler, right? Now, of course, we know there's a lot of censorship there. In order to cleanse the minds of people in society, any book written by a Jewish author, communist, or humanist was fed to the flames. In occupied countries, national newspapers, publishing houses, and radio stations were taken over or shut down, and all the radios were confiscated. In countries such as Norway, super strict censorship was put into place, making listening to, quote, foreign radio and producing, reading, or disseminating illegal newspapers was punishable by death. And again, give me a second. I'm waiting for my computer to scroll up here. By the way, if you're new here and you have no idea what you stumbled into, my name is KJ Osborne, O-Z-B-O-R-N-E. This is Catching Up with KJ, episode number 59. I got a guest coming on here in just a little while. Last week I said if anybody wanted to come on and had something to discuss, hit me up in the email, and somebody did. Actually, there's a few. I sent some emails back to 2 other people, but I never heard back from them, so I'm just going to continue on here. But here in just a bit or so, we're going to have the guest on, okay? So we're just going to see where the night takes us. You know, sometimes people write me, KJ, you need to start telling us what these shows are going to be about. And the way they write it, I literally see them shaking their fist. KJ, you little. But, you know, guys, even I don't know a lot of the time. I put some of the stuff together, but a lot of time I like to just kind of go with the flow with this and see where it takes us. And I always have something to discuss anyway, no matter what. So there's, you know, it's never silent. You know, there's always something to discuss. And oftentimes I'll take all your questions from chat. Anything is up for discussion. And we've done that for 58 shows up to now. So now we're on 59. We come a long way. And I really, really got to shout out all of you who've made this, I believe, it's a success. You know, we get a lot of views here. You got a lot of listens, and it's not just that, it's the great messages I get, that how much a lot of you appreciate it, how much the show in some ways has helped to change some lives. And I appreciate that, man. I mean, that's the whole intention. You know, I started this off over a year ago, just to let you in more, I guess, to be more transparent. I'm a pretty private type person, but I've been doing this for so long, and I get so many questions, and oftentimes it's the same questions because new people come in and they haven't seen my old videos. You know, why don't you ever talk about the Jesuits, KJ? I get that one all the time. Oh, it's the Jews, KJ. And get that one all the time too. All this stuff's very tiresome. But I mean, I've discussed all this stuff throughout my history, and we talk about everything. But no, it's not always the Jews. That one's really annoying. Every time someone says it to me, I go to their channel and look, and there's nothing there, or it's just playlists of other people's stuff. If some of you are so convinced that it's all just the Jews, and I get that it's the Jesuits. I know all roads lead to Rome, and that means so much more. And that's true, really. Rome has been a big issue. Rome's been a big issue with the truth of our Messiah, with the truth of our Heavenly Father, the truth of the Bible, the removing of the Apocrypha, all the extra stuff, right? Or so they say. But these are all things that, in my opinion, need to be looked at and studied. There's a lot of the Apocrypha, even Enoch is mentioned in the Bible, in the King James Version, all the other versions, it's mentioned in there. So it was a part of it. If you're not familiar with these other books, you should check them out. There's info in these books that you just won't find in the version of the Bible today. And that's all thanks to Rome. From a while back. There's another guy you may not have heard of. He's a little obscure, but his name's Kim Jong-il. He's actually dead now. But the censorship in North Korea is among the most intense in the world. Still is. His son has taken over, Kim Jong-un. But under Kim Jong-il, the government took strict control over communications. All domestic radio, television, and newspapers are controlled heavily. Radio and television receivers are locked to government specified frequencies. So content is supplied almost entirely by the official Korean Central News Agency. As we read about these, again, think about the condition in America. Does any of this sound familiar to you? It's the whole reason I'm reading it to you and putting this stuff together. Because there's a lot of big moves happening right now in America with censorship. Some of you are hip to this, and some of you may not be. Okay, maybe you've been watching too much television or too many movies. I don't know. And I watched a movie. I actually saw earlier today, I saw one of the best movies I've seen in a very long time, especially science fiction. One of the best sci-fi movies I've seen. And I'm a huge geek with sci-fi horror. I was a film student, worked in New York for a while, and LA, as well as trying to sell sci-fi and even horror scripts back then. So it goes way back for me, but this movie blew me away. It's kind of obscure. A lot of you probably never really heard of it, but it's this thing called Star Wars. Have you heard of this before? And this was called Rogue One Star Wars. If you haven't heard of Star Wars, please do a Google search. But with all kidding aside, just like everyone else, I grew up on the first 3 Star Wars in a lot of ways. It was a part of my early youth. And then the next, 1, 2, 3 that came, I thought were absolutely terrible. They were like little kids' movies. The last one I thought was the worst Star Wars movie they ever made. I couldn't stand it. You know, where they meet Luke in the end, spoiler alert, but where Luke Skywalker's in the end, it's the girl, I can't remember her name, she's the main character in the movie, and there's another guy that's hanging out with her. He's like, I don't know what his name was. Gosh, I don't know. I don't remember these details. I just remember like Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher as Han Solo and Queen Leia, or Princess Leia, had like the worst chemistry ever I've seen on film. It was just not, they looked tired to me. You know, they looked really like it's time to take a nap, kids, and get out of the way. Show me some robots and monsters. But, and then you could even read some interviews with J.J. Abrams, and he admits that he put this really heavy feminist like overtone in the film, and they did. And that was what ruined it for me, because I just want a good movie, man. You know, I'm a writer. I, like I said, went to film school. Even though I'm awake and aware, you know, this is one of the reasons I make a lot of videos from watching movies and TV shows. This is what I see and what I connect with. And I just, you know, I want a good movie, man, a good TV show, you know, every now and then. Even though I'm awake and aware and I see it for what it is, it helps. You know, the conditioning, the mind control, the programming doesn't come through. I see it just as a writer and as an entertainer or whatever, you know, what I was really trying to be for so long out there in LA. And I just want a good movie. And a lot of these shows now are so far left, TV shows, movies, there's such a far left agenda, and it's so extreme that when I watch these TV shows and movies, I can see the agenda. A lot of you can too. It's like I can literally see, no offense, but a panel of like really mannish looking women and very effeminate, extremely effeminate men on this panel, shaking their fingers at me and trying to teach me a lesson. And that's how I felt with this last Star Wars, shaking a finger and trying to teach me a lesson. It's like the main character, basically, it just could have been a dude. It's all it is. And that's the worst part of a lot of this third wave feminism and a lot of this liberal ideology when it comes to feminism and all this, is it's not really about empowering women. It's basically turning women into men, but not really turning them into men. It's the stereotype of a man, that every man's an alpha, every man's a dumbass, every man cares about how long his ding dong is and all this. I mean, I'm just telling you, you know, it's like that's what it's all about, man. We're dudes. I'm a dude. I got a dong and a fist. Yeah, it's all I need. I'm gonna beat your ass. I'm gonna bang your girlfriend. I mean, I don't know, but that last Star Wars movie, it's just like the main girl. Like I said, it's like there was no drama there because she could do everything. She was smarter than everybody else. She was tougher than everybody else. Beat up dudes twice her size, no problems. She could use the Force, the drop of a dime, easy enough, whatever. They made sure and put in those few scenes. And of course, the guy she was with, I can't remember his name, the actor, a black man, African-American man, whatever term you're going to use, that dude. But of course, he's basically a white knight. He's a simp. He's a cuck. He was a beta, you know, this wimpy man, you know, and he'd try to save her and she'd, you know, like reaching back to grab her hand and she'd just pull it away. Like, I don't need you. I got this, brah. And then just like he's saving his life a couple times, they're saving other people's lives a couple times. I mean, he's just a total badass, this girl was. So there was no drama. It's like no matter what, they're, you know, they're overdoing it with this character. Like I said, there's just no drama. There's no tension. Anytime she's in a scene, I knew she was gonna beat someone up or outsmart him or whatever. Anyway, so this Rogue One. They got it right, you know, as far as I'm concerned, they got it right. Yes, there's some symbolism I can talk about in a second, but as far as just a movie goes and just total suspension of disbelief and just enjoying it for a story or whatever and excitement and action, it rocked. I mean, this is, as far as I'm concerned, the best. I hadn't seen the other three in years, but this is the best Star Wars movie I can remember seeing. It was so cool. And it had so many interesting things going on. New monsters, new weapons, lots of robots. I'm a geek. I told you I like stuff like this. Pretty girls. There's pretty girls in there. It's always nice to see that. But they have a female character that's one of the main characters, but she's not like that last one. She's not overdone. She's, you know, she's sweet. She's smart. She's tough. You know, she's all these different things, but it shows that she has some vulnerabilities, that was really good, like I said. And she's a great character, and all the dudes around her are amazing as well. And there's a droid in this. It was my favorite character. It's like the main droid. Oh, KJ, you're falling for transhumanism. You are getting sucked into the Matrix. You've blue-pilled. No, relax. Again, I'm a writer. I can appreciate these things in that perspective. But this droid character, man, he just had me cracking up. And we got some of the greatest lines, and he's a cool character. And you know, the whole thing, there's so many religious overtones and undertones to this Star Wars, especially a lot of Hebrew Kabbalah type things happening in this Star Wars. But, you know, there's a guy that's very faithful. He's a blind guy, and he's constantly saying, I am one with the Force is with me, and stuff like this or whatever. It's like he's constantly praying, you know, and he's blind, but he's one of the coolest dudes ever. He's one of the best fighters. He's all about faith throughout the whole thing. He's the guy that talks about faith. So you need to pick up some of this stuff. A lot of interesting symbols. That droid I was talking about, he's from the Empire originally. He was kind of pre-programmed or whatever, or reprogrammed. But there's some symbolism on him and some of the other characters in there. And what's interesting is this. It's the as above, so below paradigm. It's the six-pointed, what's the hexagon they call it? Six-pointed star, the pyramid on top of the other pyramid interlaced, the Jewish star, some may say. It's the as above, so below paradigm where you can see this as, and it's the exact symbol in two other places. It's very interesting. The first place is Walmart. Walmart uses the exact same symbol that's here in Star Wars. You'll see what I'm talking about. Excuse me. It's the sun symbol, right? Which already goes back to the Masonic sun worship, Lucifer. But it's the six-pointed star, and if you draw it in, the Walmart logo, it's the two pyramids. It's on one atop, one below, intertwined. The as above, so below paradigm, more of the occult, in our reality here, mainstream reality. And then in Westworld, inside the lab where they develop these robots, these really advanced robots, on the wall they have the exact same symbol, but it's in white, but it's the same, drawn out the same symbol Walmart has. So I'm watching Rogue One, and they got the same symbol in Rogue One. It's on that droid I'm talking about, and it's also on some of the people that are at the Empire. I thought that was interesting. Still there, the as above, so below paradigm. Before our very eyes, same symbol, same meaning, but so few people are going to see, right? But all this stuff is connected in one way or another. But aside from all that, the geek in me will tell you that Rogue One is one of the coolest science fiction movies I've seen in, like I said, a long time. Awesome fights. TIE fighters versus X-Wings. I was literally shaking my fist, but I'm a geek. I was like, yes, yes. I love this stuff. But this is, to me, I think it's the best Star Wars movie I've seen. Like I said, it's just more adult. It's not goofy. It's not dumb kid crap. It's more of a war film, like a space war film. And I thought it was really cool like that. But again, there's symbolism in there for sure. And that's what we find in all these things now. So Sapar Murat Atayevic Niyazov was the former leader of Turkmenistan. And he did way more than censor. He banned the playing of video games and listening to car radios, performing opera or ballet, smoking in public, long hair on men, and men growing facial hair. All this stuff was censored. He wanted a very uniform look to everybody. Niyazov ordered the closure of all libraries outside the capital of Ashgabat because he believed all Turkish men were illiterate. News anchors, both men and women, were prevented from wearing any sort of makeup after Niyazov discovered he couldn't distinguish who was who when they wore it. So he had a hard time understanding when he watched the news which one was a man or a woman. So he had this erased. Another one on this little list here, Saddam Hussein. But I don't know. Let's see what they say about Saddam. Some of this, of course, could just be mainstream BS. Like if they put Gaddafi in here, that's another interesting one. Stories outside of the U.S. you would read, people loved Gaddafi. Like they loved him as a leader. Apparently he treated them really well. But the media in America is like, this guy's a devil. It's another Hitler. We got to get him. Saddam Hussein, they say he ruled Iraq as a single-party dictatorship from 1979 to 2003 with the Ba'athist Party, excuse me, the only lawful party in Iraq. During this time, political criticism of the Iraqi government was illegal, and similar restrictions against political expression were found in the Iraqi constitution. Even before Hussein came to power, prior governments didn't support freedom of speech, the press, personal expression, or other forms of communications. So let's move on. Does any of this sound familiar to you? Do you see any of this stuff happening right now in America? Because at number 7, we got Joseph Stalin. I'm sure many of you have heard of Stalin. Censorship of images in the Soviet Union reduced access to pornography, which was already considered contraband by Soviet law. Visual censorship was also exploited in a political context, particularly during the political suppression of Joseph Stalin's rule. The Soviet government attempted to erase some historical figures by altering their images and destroying all film on them. So you're starting to see common themes between all these dictators and all this censorship. And have you seen anything happening right now in America that may be close to stuff like this? There's a guy named Than, T-H-E-N, Shwe, or Shwe, I'm not sure, S-H-W-E. Than Shwe, or Shwe will say, took over as chairman of the Burmese military junta or it's also known as the State Peace and Development Council. In 2002, he did this. And the country has a few privately owned publications that have to submit their content to the Press Scrutiny Board. It's actually the name of it, for approval before it can be published. And former journalists are usually turned down, except when the government wants to showcase a political event. So citizens have actually been arrested for listening to the BBC or Radio Free Asia in public. And in 2005, the junta took control of Bagan Cybertech, Burma's main internet service and satellite feed provider, and has maintained very strict controls over that ever since. So there's just a few that I wanted to share with you, a few examples. I want to jump over to the chat real quick and see what's going on. Hi guys, how are you tonight? It's Saturday night. I really appreciate you all taking some time out here tonight and hanging out with us. And I'm going to jump back just a bit and chat here in a second and say hi to some folks. Then I'm going to bring in my guest for the evening. In fact, what I should do right now, if you're listening, my friend, I'm going to put a link over there in your Skype for you. And you can jump in whenever you like. And I'm just going to chat with the chat folks here for a little bit. But here you go. I'm putting it in your Skype right now. And I'm sending that out. Okay, there we go. So you just click that, you come in. Just keep in mind, please keep your volume down in the background, and also be careful because it jumps in live. So in case you're wearing something weird, or you know, there's something strange happening in the house or something behind you or whatever it is, just be aware of that. Because when you come in, the camera turns on your computer and whoomp, there it is. You know, whoomp, there it is. If you're wearing like a weird onesie or something, then you're busted. You know, if your cat's walking around wearing a tuxedo and a monocle, we're going to see it. Okay, so just so you know, all right, just so we're above board, just so you know where I'm coming from. Anyway, I put that in there, man. So jump on in here whenever you get in. Blue Blood Guitar, thanks. Good to see you, man. Effie, always a pleasure, my dear. Lee's here. Okay, my bud's going to be here in like 5 minutes. That's fine, man. I'll keep talking, and then we'll get into it. So Gothic's here. Kanga, good to see you. Thanks for saying hi to Rascal. Rascal's great. Become very much a jungle cat, more and more. He spends pretty much the whole day outside after he eats breakfast, and then I don't see him till night, and he comes in and he's ready to eat dinner and crash, you know. It's got a good life. Jelly Bean, what's up? Sherry K, how you doing? Josh, good to see you, bruv. I said bruv. Gothic said hi, Ryan's World. Good to see you. Eric, how you doing, bud? Camille's here. Oh, she says watching Carnate. Okay, I'll have to check that one out. I saw that it's a new horror film, so I'll have to see what I see in that and check it out sometime. Robert Guile, G-I-L-E. Nice to see you, man. It's been a while. Sean, how are you? Good to see you. Marina Mancada, how are you? She says talk about Venezuela. I just came back from Guatemala a few weeks ago, and I was gonna instead go to Venezuela at the time. I want to go out there and film. Being out here, I get to see some news in there. Venezuela it's a country to watch because a lot of what happened to them could easily happen in America or some of these other countries as well. It's scary images I see here, like real food lines and things like this. There's lots of violence going on out there. Venezuela's, it's going through some tough times. I want to put more together so I can have more thoughts for you on Venezuela before I, you know, just kind of try to ramble on about it. I'm not going to try to BS you, excuse me, but I've seen enough where I know Venezuela, they're in a lot of trouble. They're in a lot of trouble. They're using to pay for, in fact, I think I just saw that they recently had to create a new higher end dollar amount bill, the government did, because people were coming in with bags of bills and like, you know, literally like, you know, shovel or what is it? What are those things? It's got two handles and a bucket, and people can jump on the bucket, or God, I can't believe I can't remember the name of that tool or that whatever, but there's people bringing those things, all right, like filled with bills just to get milk and bread and stuff. I mean, it's really that bad in Venezuela right now. And the mainstream doesn't really seem to be talking much about it, but so that's what I know about Venezuela. But I'd like to go out there and film. It's just incredibly dangerous there right now. So, you know what I mean? I don't know. They see some cute little gringo like me, and they may think I've got a bunch of money or something. And next thing you know, it's like, hey, Mom, Dad, why aren't you calling on Sunday? Usually it's Sunday. This isn't going to be a normal conversation. Okay, I'm in a hole somewhere in Venezuela, and I need to get out. You know, I mean, I just wouldn't. You know, even Guatemala, I didn't realize how dangerous it was till I got there. And I started looking up some stuff, like the tourist board was even saying it has a really high rate of kidnapping, rape, and murder. And so there's a few of these countries out here, it's a little rough. And don't let that freak you out. You know, it's not every Central and South American country. We're only talking about the ones that are in the most dire straits right now. All the other places I've been, amazing. Costa Rica is feels the most safe and comfortable place I've ever been in my life. You know, we don't have near the violence America does. So anyway. Moving on. D1SER, good to see you. Hi, always a hope. A list for love. Nice to see you. Rhonda Gilman. Thank you, Rhonda. Amanda Ortiz, how are you? Good to see you. Hey, Pandora Quinn. I love Pandora Quinn. Good to see you. I love you all. Thanks. Lion and the Lamb, what's up? Okay. Kristen Cooper, what's up? How are you? Alex Capone says, what do you guys think about La Junta de Control Fiscal in Puerto Rico? What do you guys think about the Junta of Control Fiscal? So someone's taken financial control of Puerto Rico. I'm not sure what you're talking about, man. I haven't really heard much about Puerto Rico, but if anybody knows anything about that, please jump in. 519 Forest Monk says, lots of news about Papa Putin. That's true. In fact, here's the thing. I want to throw this out real quick. I was going to do this in the video. I slowed down a bit. You know, the algorithm they keep saying is really jacked on YouTube. And again, I want to clear this up too. It's not really all just a conspiracy. You know, it's not, and it's not just us. It's not people who speak in truther realms or Christian realms or conspiracy realms. I saw today, I watched a bunch of videos on this, actually. I just kept going to the recommended and watching all these videos. A lot of these channels are like 2,000 subs, and they're freaking out. They're like, what's going on with my channel? My views are stuck and this, and they say it's the algorithm. So it's me as well. This is why when I do a video, I did one recently talking about it called When YouTube Gives Us Lemons, suppressing views, unsubbing subs, we make lemonade. And it's just talking about making your own websites now. I moved over to minds.com a bit. In fact, if you haven't been there, let me put a link in here in the chat. I'm doing videos at Minds unlike anything I'm allowed to do on YouTube anymore. So if you want to go see a whole new kind of video that I do, please go check these things out. These are videos I can do completely unrestrained. What Minds.com has taught me is I'm cutting my teeth on it and getting prepared for my website, because my website, I'm not going to have ads on there so I can do what I want. But as I mentioned, I'll put up a Patreon account, which is something I never considered doing in the past. Well, with all these changes and all these people getting affected and all this stuff and all this censorship happening on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, we're getting close to that time. I mean, I've had to wake up into this more and more over the last few weeks. It's like, this is really happening. I keep thinking a few weeks ago, a couple days, nothing happens. This started in October for me, and it seems to have been getting worse. So it's not like, please give me money, but if y'all like our content, a lot of us independent alternative people and researchers, we're going to need maybe your help, if you could. And it's just, if everybody threw in $1 a day or $1 a month or something, seriously, like something that small, if we can get enough people doing that, we're solid. We can continue content. We can grow our websites. I could do a radio show, an everyday radio show I could produce myself. This is something I'd love to do. And, have hour or 2 hour call in every day, just something different. A lot of people have asked if I would do that. And it's like, I just don't have the time and the resources or the energy for it, but if we had it's a little bit of financial, a little bit of a financial pillow there for us, you'll see a lot of us producing more and more and doing more and more. And these are the times to do it, because I did a video over at minds.com. I put some of this stuff together, but again, look at Twitter, all the stuff happening with their censorship, YouTube and Facebook. Is this all a coincidence, folks? Is this, it's just, isn't it weird that it all happened around the same time? No, you know what else isn't a coincidence? Again, I'll do a video on this, I guess. I'll put it up on the main channel. I got some bigger ones I'm finishing up for YouTube. And like I said, mine's I'm doing a lot, so go check that out as well. But I think they're setting the narrative. And I mean, again, I don't like to predict things, but I keep wondering if they're just setting the narrative. I talked about this last week because it's all Russia did it. Russia did that. Russia's doing it, right? It's all Russia. And then was it yesterday, didn't China capture an underwater drone from America or something like that? And the same day, Obama came out. Both these things happened on the same day. Obama came out and did a conference, was talking about, or an interview, and was talking about how, we're not going to stand for this. And, as far as the Russian hacks go, that Russia hacked us, the elections, it's all their fault. This is the president of the United States saying this, okay? And, there can be repercussions. And that's where I know they're setting the narrative, because he's not an idiot. You could say he is, but he's not. None of these people are. These liberals, all these fascists, all these people who've infiltrated the government, Brotherhood of Islam, Brotherhood, Muslim Brotherhood. Anyway, they're a lot of this cabinet members and all this. But these people aren't morons. They're not idiots. I mean, they're smart. A lot of them have been educated and they've been in the system and all that. They're smart people. So they would know better. If they were really going to counterstrike on Russia, they're not going to go on mainstream news and have an interview and talk about what they're going to do, or even talk about that they're thinking about it. They're just going to do it. That's how they're setting the narrative, as far as I'm concerned. And again, I've been speculating for years if Obama's even going to leave the White House, right? So everyone's like, oh, it's over. Trump's already making changes. And I love seeing good news. I mean, there is a lot of good news coming out of Trump being, the president-elect. I'm seeing that happen around the world. Well, why isn't there good news on the internet as far as the censorship? Why isn't there good news in social media? Why is Facebook going so extremely far as to, what are they hired Snopes, which is retarded. Please look up Snopes Debunked. But it's in their far left group website. They chose Snopes and Associated Press. Right, the Associated Press. These are both hard left-leaning groups. Now they're going to be the purveyors of truth for us. They're gonna judge everything on what truth is, I believe, with Facebook, right? So Facebook's done that. Twitter's straight up removing people's accounts. Milo for one, but a bunch of other people as well. But more conservative, right, at this point, more alt-right as they call it, or Christian. And then you get all this stuff with YouTube again, all the kind of craziness happening with YouTube. So is it all just a coincidence, or are they setting the narrative? Now here's the deal. Here's what I'm wondering. This is what I'm questioning. I'm not telling you this is what it is, but I wonder. Is the event really coming before Obama or before Trump takes office on the 20th of January? The false flag event that America will launch on itself, and they're going to blame it on Russia. They've already set the narrative. Russia did it. Russia did that. It's Russia. Hillary keeps saying it's Russia. So they can launch their false flag, which if they do this, this will be the worst false flag ever. Like, it's going to be big. Tsunamis in New York big, and more. It's going to be a lot of things happening. And this is going to be starting civil war, straight up civil war in America, launched into World War III. And they're going to blame it. America's going to blame it on Russia. Of course, it'll be Obama. He'll maintain his position as the president. All the T's have been crossed and all the I's have been dotted. All the paperwork's already done on all this. So he'll maintain his time. And that's going to be it. Right? And they'll blame it on Russia, and then we can go to World War III. Then you're going to see a lot of craziness. So I don't know. I'm just saying, I question these things. I wonder. So I'm gonna stop, and now I'm gonna jump back to the chat. I'm gonna check over here and see if my friend joined me yet. I haven't had a chance to look. Let me see. Hey man, are you in here yet? Let's see if you've popped in yet. Yeah, I think you are. Are you here, Epic? Epic, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hi.
Nice to hear from you.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So let me just real quick to the people here. Once again, I'll say that Epic had contacted me I just closed down my Skype. Epic have been contacting me and wanted to come onto the show. And the best way to do it now is just to, do it like that. If you want to come on the show and talk about something, hit me up at the scariest movie ever at gmail.com. Then I can make sure you have a Skype and I can give you a link that way. Because when I do a live Skype, it can get a little kooky, and also we know that there's some turd sitting around waiting to jump on here and make noise, right? The so-called hacker. So we got to play it cool like that for now. Anyway, Epic. So, hey, man, Epic's here. Do you want to just first off kind of let the audience know kind of about yourself, who you are, and what it is you wanted to talk about? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm currently living in Chicago with my family. My mom is from Sweden and my dad is from United States. I moved to US when I was like, I don't know, 10 or I don't know about I don't know. But yeah, and I'm currently having sleep paralysis. I can't pronounce that word, but whatever.
That's okay.
Yeah, and these sleep paralysis have gotten worse every day. Before I get this sleep paralysis, I hear a lot laugh, but it isn't a human laugh. It is a monster laugh, and it's really frightened, especially when the laugh coming before the sleep paralysis happens, and sometimes I see a shadow. It's very frightening.
Do you hear the laugh every time?
Sometimes.
And how you sound young. We did talk before. I remember. I think you're
Yeah.
like 16, right?
Yeah, around that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Nice to hear with me. I love when the young people call in. It's great. So thank you. How many years has this been going on?
Like I said, the last show I was in, it it started when I started to be, a real Christian. Yeah.
So a few years.
No, I started to be a real Christian. I don't know, about 4 months, something like
Oh,
that.
okay. Well, good. That's good to know that this is a fairly new thing, and
Yeah.
it can be taken care of too. Now, was there? So that must. So as far as you're concerned, that it was the event that really started this was becoming a Christian. It's not like you were sacrificing a sheep somewhere to some pagan gods or anything like this. Just you became a Christian, and then this started coming at you. Is that right?
Yep.
Well, it makes sense, man, because remember that the enemy has come to steal, kill, and destroy us, and you know this. And even with a lot of our issues online with things and trying to get truth out or whatever, and hacks and things like this, I had my hacks recently, or so-called hacks. My friends have done a lot of great work on this. I don't want to talk much about it. We're going to take care of this, but the so-called hacks or whatever. But again, it's what's working through these people, and there is a wickedness there. And you're young, which is wonderful because there's still some innocence to you that a lot of us adults don't have or have maybe worked our ways back to, but we lost for a while. And a lot of adults have maintained, but the enemy hates that. It hates purity. It hates innocence. So have you ever tried to just pray out Christ's name, say, Jesus, in the name of my Lord Jesus, be gone or anything like this? Or have you ever tried any kind of spiritual warfare like that?
Yeah, I have actually done that, but sometimes it works, but every time I do that, it getting worse every time. I don't know why, but yeah, that's why I don't have the guts to pray, because every time I do that, it's getting worse.
That's why, yeah, it feeds off your fear. There's these entities and these things, they love it. They feed off of our fears. So that's why, these movies and TV shows take a lot of, it's just Hollywood stuff. Even there's an Exorcist TV show I watch, and last night was a pretty cool ending episode. But even in that one, I think it's the end of the first season, but even in that one, they basically paint the Pope out so far it seems to be really like a good holy man, and there's people involved in the Vatican that wanted to kill him because he was a good representation of God here on earth. And we know, at least most of us know, that this Pope we have right now, I believe, is the false prophet, and he's a Jesuit, and I think he's absolutely horrible, and he's constantly saying things against the Bible, right? But still, so many. I watch those videos of people at the Vatican crying and reaching out to touch him as if he's just some real representation of God or Jesus Christ. It's unbelievable. But so they take these liberties. But in these shows and movies, it's always about the faith, and I believe that it's about the intention, because the occultists work through intention as well. Alice Bailey's talked about it. Foster Bailey talked about it. Look into a lot of the occultists, and you'll find that it's about intention, behind these symbols and things like this. And I think it's the same thing for us. It's about, our real heart, our real faith, and our intention that we can send out. I don't think you have to hold a cross in your hand to do this. That's just me. Again, I think these are idols, that people worship these idols. Even a lot of the occult or the Illuminati artists and even Satanists straight up will wear a cross around their neck. It's a mockery. It's a mockery, right? And it's funny is they're mocking a pagan religion, because Christianity really is our real faith mixed with pagan ideas that Rome gave us. So they're mocking something they're already mocking. But the Christians are so kind of duped. A lot of Christians that are religious, let's say, are so kind of duped in their own religion, they don't even see that. So anyway, it gets complicated. Yeah. But I think you understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I'm wondering, is exorcist a sin? I'm just curious.
I don't know, man. There's a school in Oklahoma for exorcism, and I'm from Oklahoma, and I lived there again a while back. I was going to go, I'd called the place a few times. I wanted to go meet one of the main exorcists or whatever that was teaching the class, and it took a while, and it just never really worked out. But I wanted to do that because it seems that my research shows me this. There are people out there, there are priests out there that are exorcists that seem to be highly effective, that are really, really good at what they do. And there's a story I put up in a video a while back that they're having trouble getting a lot of exorcists right now. I think it's in Italy, because they're so scared. Once they go on the scene and see these people possessed, it freaks them out, and they don't have the faith to fight that stuff, to fight the enemy. And so they run. So I think it's like everything else. It's a mix. It's not just a black and white thing. I think there's some wonderful exorcists out there that really know God, that are God's hand, that know Jesus and all this. And they're really out there. And I think they're doing wonderful work, and they're really getting rid of these demons. But the Bible tells us that we, as followers of Christ, once you accept him, right, as your Lord and Savior and all, that we have the 9 manifestations of the Holy Spirit. And one of those is casting out demons. And it's something that first you have to believe we can do it, because it's in the Bible. You have to accept it, but then pray on it and read about it. Read in the Bible and study this before you go out and try to do it. But I think the big deal is knowing we have the power. I think that's why I don't see demons and shadow people around me and stuff so much, because I know exactly what I would do to it or say to it. Because I know I've got the power. And it's not me, it's not KJ, it's the power through Christ. It's the power through our Father.
Yeah.
Excuse me, and as long as you acknowledge that, and then let our Father work through us, let Christ work through us, these things will run and hide. That's the big deal. Remember, they feed off of fear, and you're a young man, so they're going to come at you and try to scare you. I can see that, but own it, believe it. Just like I said, so many people are just, not you, I'm saying, but a lot of people, oh yeah, I believe in Jesus, I believe in God. They don't even think about this spiritual warfare. And, I am in it. I'm really in it myself in my own way. And I battle it all the time through prayer and everything else. And I see things. I have strange things happen. And, oh, hey, man, if you could, I think you might be close to the microphone, just letting you know it's real loud. It's okay. I'm just looking out for the people listening and whatnot. Rascal hates it, too. He's the one that told me to say something. But just kidding, man. But yeah, so that's kind of my approach on it. It just has to do with your real relationship with God and your faith in Christ. And you're going to have to really live it and really believe it and know that we have it, and know that it's not arrogant to know that, as long as we're not like, oh, I've got powers, I'm special, I am this. No, we have our abilities through Christ, through our God, and that Jesus scares these things away. Remember the demons? He chased out Legion out of the man into the pigs, and the pigs all ran and killed themselves in the pond or in the lake or whatever. So, we have this same strength and power, but it's through Jesus Christ, so go ahead.
I'm wondering, isn't there like two types of demons? A strong one and a weak one.
It's funny you say that because one of my favorite, gosh, what's it called? Screw Tape Letters. It's one of my favorite books from many years ago. It's from C.S. Lewis. And the Screw Tape Letters, it's a great book. If you guys haven't heard of it, check it out. But the whole book is about a young demon that's being mentored by an older demon, and the older demon's trying to teach him how to make humanity fall, like one person at a time. And it talks all about how they know all this person's sins, and like the demon will do everything it can to make sure that maybe a bad relationship comes back into this person's life, and just, stuff like this. It's really interesting. It's all about how demons think, and it's about an older set of demons and a younger set of demons. I don't know. I don't want to just say straight out there. I'd have to research that more in the Bible, and if anybody knows, you can throw it out there. But these, as far as I'm concerned, demons are all ancient beings. The disembodied spirits of the fallen angels. These are ancient beings, and they're incredibly wise, and they're incredibly insane, and they can be scary, but I'm not scared of them. I think it's good to speak that out too, is to be like, I'm not scared of the devil or his demons because I have my relationship with my Father. I know Jesus has my back. He's my best friend, and more, right? So I know I'm connected there, and I accept it, and I believe it, and I know that I'm safe. And if something like that approached me, a demon or whatever, a hat man or a shadow man or whatever these things, whichever form they come in, that would be my attitude. That's how I would approach it, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I just want to point something out. If you didn't know, German politics, I can't pronounce that word, whatever, want 500k euro fines if Facebook fails to remove fake news within 24 hours.
Yeah, I heard about that. Isn't that crazy? I mean, this is, yeah, it's funny because we know ICANN, the Obama signed the internet over to the UN essentially, and I think China is looking over some of it as well. I'll have to research that and make sure I'm not just throwing that out there. It seems like I read that somewhere, but that's a big deal, and that's right around October 1st, and that's when a lot of our channels started acting up. Like mine really started acting up around October 1st. And everybody was like, oh, it's ICANN. And I try to step back from this stuff. I don't like jumping on conspiracy bandwagons and thinking, this is it. So I pulled off. But now more and more, it's like, wow, maybe that is, because I didn't even give it a consideration at first because it was YouTube. And YouTube does stuff like this every now and then. They just jack everything up. But then you saw the stuff with Twitter. Then you saw the fake news thing coming out from the fake news, which is the mainstream. Like everything's fake news. And they're saying fake news is anything that has any right-leaning ideologies, conservative, Christian. It's all fake news. That's what they're trying to say. And you got Twitter backing that up. You got Facebook backing it up. And then God only knows what's happening with YouTube. But they're not attacking everybody. That's the other thing. I've seen people try to write this off when I make a video about, oh, it's happening to everybody. KJ, just relax, dude. God, it's not right, because some people still get their view counts as they come in, and their channels aren't jacked with, and it's all good. It's maybe 30% of us, I feel like 35, 40 maybe, but somewhere in that range. It's not everybody on YouTube, but it's a lot of us. And it's weird because it's a lot of the same groups, a lot of the so-called conspiracy realms, a lot of people that talk against SJW, with the, what an SJW is, right? But social justice warriors talking against feminism, things like this, they're getting affected. A lot of the bigger channels that are just like people talking on camera and playing games like PewDiePie, they're being affected. So who knows? A few years ago, animators were really big. I saw this on a video a few years ago. They were a really big deal on YouTube. And then something happened, one of these algorithm changes, and then they all just kind of disappeared, So maybe they're doing that to the big talkie channels that are multimillionaires and even, even a little under, like PewDiePie. And maybe they're trying to target some of us, that talk more like, alt-right or conservative or Christian. So it's interesting. It's worth watching because there's a lot going on. But as I said, it's like they're being so blatant about it now. And I keep seeing them pushing this Russia narrative. And we're so close to exposing one of the darkest things ever, the real Illuminati, the real Satanists at the highest level of government in Hollywood with all this stuff and Pizzagate and all this stuff, that it all just seems like it's coalescing, you know. So I keep wondering if they're literally going to drop the bombs, if they're going to pull the false flags off before January 20th, then blame Russia, you know. And then they've already got it set up because they know that so many people are awake because the mainstream media in America is at 6%. A Gallup poll recently showing how many people trust it. So they know so many people are here online looking for the truth. Well, now they've got the big three censored: Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So it's like they've got it all set up. Now they can drop the bombs, and then when all of us start talking about it, suddenly it's fake news, right? You can't talk about that. That's stupid. So it's fake news, and they'll erase it. And then you're going to have, you know, all the mainstream's already infiltrating YouTube, and then you're just going to have mainstream views. You can have these dum-dums like John Oliver and all these guys who are supposed to be comedians talking about it, all the late night show hosts talking about it, and such a sad time in history, and shame Russia did this to us. You know, we got to pull together now as Americans. It's going to be tough for a while. You know, I get to see it, you know, and then that'll be another good excuse for them to launch the mark, you know, like, hey guys, we need to tag everybody. All right. We got to make sure we kick all these potential terrorists out. I mean, who knows, whatever excuse they're going to use. But this is wartime, guys. This is big. This is World War III. So come on, America. We're gonna have to tag you. If not, we're gonna have to put you aside because, you know, you're not one of us. We're gonna put you aside in these camps. I mean, I'm just saying, I can see this playing out. I don't want to scare people, and I'm not living my life as if this is already happening. I just see it as a possibility, you know.
Yeah, people shouldn't, be afraid. You should live. You should live as a normal life, I think. But also, I wanna talk about the passage in the Bible. I don't remember it, but it says in the future that they will kill the Christians. But I'm wondering, do you think they will blame the boogeyman, ISIS, um, killing the Christians? I don't know.
Well, that's a good question because what's really interesting is Obama lines up a lot with the Mahdi, Mahdi, which in Iran, you know, they believe he's basically their Messiah, you know, what we might call an Antichrist, or maybe he's their Antichrist as well. No, I think he's like the one that's going to come and basically conquer the West, the Mahdi. And there's a lot of things that line up with that, with Obama being the actual Mahdi in their eyes. The Muslim Brotherhood has already infiltrated a lot of levels of our government, and that's not a conspiracy theory. You can look that up. Obama always praises the Quran and all that. You can see tons of video clips of him doing that, but then he'll shut down anything Christian or whatever, you know. So it's through their fruits we'll know them. It's not just their words. So he's clearly, to me, a Muslim. Even Madonna, of all people, did a concert and said, hey, we got a black Muslim in the White House, you know, and that's a good thing or whatever, you know. I mean, like, that's where, again, that's why so many people are already thinking like, oh, it's over, man. Trump won, you know, the good news is already coming. He's going to get in there on January 20th and change America. And don't get me wrong, I'm a hopeful person. I would love to see something like that happen if that's the case, whatever. But I'm not putting my stock in this guy. You know, I put my stock in my Heavenly Father, and he tells me from all the things I've seen from almost 10 years of doing this work that we're in the end times. Now, I don't know how long that's going to last. Again, I don't live my life in fear of that. Oh my gosh, it's going to be tomorrow. You know, you live your life, right? But you be aware. So I know we're in the end times. And all these weird things with Obama, these interesting synchronicities with him and satanic type images and satanic ideas and everything else, and all the connections to the Mahdi. It just makes me wonder, is that, and, you know, we had in America, I think it was the Brooklyn Bridge in New York, one of the big bridges out there, maybe it's Brooklyn, but somebody overnight had took down the American flag and put up a white flag. All these interesting kind of symbols like this, you know, things we've been seeing. There was 13 dead eagles found about a year ago, and this is the things I look at. I think these are the way God talks sometimes, at least how I see God talking. And I've seen so much of that. It's crazy, you know, and it's interesting. I've mentioned this in the past, that if this is a devilish deed that's coming, if Obama's going to be finally going to drop the mask, so to speak, and show himself as the son of perdition, then how wicked is it that they let Trump get this far and build up all this hope in millions of people around the world even. People hated Obama, and they still do. Media makes us think he's loved and all this, but people hate this guy. You know, they see him for what it is. How wicked is it that they build up all this hope in Trump for some people, right? For a lot of people. And then all of a sudden, they know they're going to pull the rug out. They're going to launch this false flag. Obama's going to get to maintain power. Hillary's still going to be in power. She'll still be Secretary of State, right? Most people hate this woman. I can't stand her myself. I can't even look at this witch. I can't stand her. But she's going to have her position back. All these nasty, gross, far leftists, Marxists, they're going to have their positions, and that will be the final government of America. That will be the last president of America. And it will be chips. It will be FEMA camps. It's going to be major insanity and world upheaval. It won't just be America. Perhaps that's when Nibiru shows up, or Planet X, or Wormwood, as the Bible calls it. Earthquakes. We're already seeing all these sinkholes happening on the world. It's going through changes, and I always feel like it's happening because it's preparing itself for the millennial reign. I have a hard time saying millennial myself. The millennial reign of Christ. Maybe that's why we're seeing all these earth changes as well.
Yeah.
So hey, do you believe in? Are you a person who believes in the catching away before all the bad stuff happens? Do you think we're all going to be here through the bad stuff?
In that way, I think. But I think some of them will. I don't know. I don't have the question.
No, you're close. You're close, because some will have to stay behind. Some are going to be here. And I pray that I'm right about the interpretations I've seen, that there really is a catching away. And I pray that I'm seen, that I'm allowed to go. And then I also pray that if not, Father, if I'm still here, if we're all still here, and then I just pray that you guide me and help me to help others, because I know I'm not taking a mark or anything like that, but I'll be here to help, because there'll be people hiding. A lot of Christians are going to have to go underground. All Christians really are going to have to go underground. Some will be captured. Some are going to have to either take the mark or have the head chopped. I mean, this isn't me making this up. This is what we see in the Bible. And I would discount it if it wasn't for all these other things I've seen in the Bible coming true and coming into fruition.
Yeah.
I can't argue it. So all I remember is, the main thing I think of, as much as I look into end times and some of the scarier stuff, I just remember that our God is a God of love. God loves us. Even though the devil may be running this domain, God is still in control. I don't question why he allows some things to happen and other things to happen to this and that or whatever. I focus on my own walk. I feel good. I feel comfortable. I know that no matter what happens, he's got my back. I pray I get to go in the catching away. If not, I pray I can be a warrior here and help out,
Yeah, and I think those who are weak will leave the planet, and those who are strong will probably, saving others. I don't know, in that way. What's your thoughts about it?
I like that, man. I think that's a good way to think about it. And a lot of this is exactly what we're doing. A lot of it is us speculating, because we don't really know. We're not there. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like or how it's going to happen, but I don't worry about it. Like I said, I don't plan on being here, but if I am here, I'm not going to freak out and lose faith in God and how dare you, and start shaking my fist, creator, why I yada, I mean, you don't do that. You just go with it. You know that God's got a plan. It's same with all this stuff with me finishing the website. Now I'm on minds.com and making different videos. I didn't realize how much freedom I've missed out on being on YouTube so many years. And all the other bad stuff happening on YouTube is making me look in these other areas. And now I realize why it's such a good thing I've done this. My work's only going to grow. And my website, you're going to see, like I said, Minds, you'll see videos. I can use footage. I can do what I want. And it's just the chains are off. So I feel that's what God showed me. Some people may be like, oh man, YouTube's jacking my channel and this sucks. It's the end, and just getting all, no, man, it's like, it sucks. But then I try to look at the bright side, and the bright side is what it showed me is, hey man, it's time to branch out. Sometimes I wonder if my work will still be here behind me. Like if there is a catching away, I wonder, and I get to go, let's say, or I wonder if that'll make the stuff I've done and other people on YouTube so much more important than what it is maybe right now. There's so many great people out there making videos and writing articles and putting truth up right now, really intense stuff, that it may not, still doesn't make sense to most people. We may have hundreds of thousands of subs here and there. Sure, that's great. There's still millions upon millions out in the world that haven't seen these things. Maybe that's when they're going to see them. Maybe a lot of our information will be left behind, and we really will be kind of an underground resource for those survivors trying to figure out what the heck is going on. And then they'll stumble on all these videos and all these different minds and all these great people who were led, I think, to put information out. And then it'll start making sense to them, and then it'll give them a chance to accept Christ, to know what time it really is.
Yeah, I think the same as you, and I think some of them, like you said last week, they would probably think, "Oh, why didn't I, go up? Didn't I do this? Blah blah blah." And I think some people will be disappointed in God, and they will, lost hope for Him. I don't know. That's my point of view about the whole thing.
I'm curious about, you said your mother's in Sweden, and I don't talk a lot about it, a lot of my videos or whatever. I did a video, I showed some footage of this, the immigrant crisis. I showed some footage on a video I just did on minds.com. I mean, how real is that? Can you tell
Uh,
us about the migrant crisis in Sweden?
it's real. They are coming everywhere, and there's also gypsies in Sweden. If you don't know about that.
I do. I do. I always call myself a gypsy just because I travel a lot and all this, but I'm not a European gypsy. That's a different story altogether.
Yeah. The funny thing is, the gypsies, the government giving them a free ticket home. Basically, that means they can go to Sweden and go home for free, and they are coming every day, more every day, and it's kind of chaotic. I think I haven't been there. I don't know, for like
Well,
last summer.
let me throw this out. Somebody in chat just asked what a European gypsy is. Can you kind of explain that to them?
What's the? I don't know. I don't know the country. A gypsy. It They originally comes from Indians. If you don't know about that, they don't really have a country. They just travel around. They're basically. I don't know how I can explain this, but
A lot of them are from Romania, I believe,
yeah,
right?
Romania. Yes, yeah, exactly. But they don't really have a country. I don't know why they moved, but I think they moved from Indian because of the princess something. I don't remember, but it happened something in the India, and that was the cause they had to move to move. And when they came to Europe, they split up. So some of them went to Africa and went to America and went to Romania, and some of them from Romania lives in Sweden.
But they basically travel around through America or through the European Union, right? And they don't ever really work. They may do some like hard labor type stuff, but typically they're thieves and they'll use their women
Yeah.
not as whores so much. The girls will come on to guys, but they'll then beat the guy up. A bunch of gypsies around the corner, they'll kick that guy's butt and take his money and stuff. Well, even here in America, have you ever seen any of those reality shows in America about the American gypsies?
Not really. I don't really watch television really.
Well, that's a good young man. Good for you, man. Continue that, okay?
I just want to say that some of my in my age doesn't really watching television. They're mostly watching streamer, those who play games, and watching YouTube.
Twitch.
Yeah, Twitch. If you do you know about that?
Oh yeah, I know all these things. I need to eventually branch out onto them. I'm even a gamer to a bit, to myself. Throughout the years, I've always played different online games, and just to pass the time. And even I'm older than you, of course, but I'm still like a little geek like that. I like robots and movies and monsters and things like this. I've always been that person. Then I add to that my faith, and that's how I make my videos and try to make a difference. But yeah, I know Twitch and all that. Twitch is huge. And
Yeah.
again, go ahead.
Um, I, what kind of games do you play? I'm just curious.
I almost hate to say the names because I don't want people coming on and finding me right now, but because they might try. But I play some things on Steam that I've bought, and One of them I love right now. It's an online tank game you can play with other people, and it's kind of simple, but it's also just it's just so much fun. I can play it for hours, and I have to watch out because I can get really non-productive. But I also play an old game called Half-Life, and it's online.
Yeah,
Do
yeah,
you really? Oh, dude,
yeah.
I love Team Fortress, man. I love Team Fortress.
Uh,
So
you should test out Overwatch. It's a good game too.
I'm going to, man. That actually is the next one on my list. I've got a few friends that play it and really want me to come on and play Overwatch, so I'll check that out. But I'm playing like old school Two Fort, and Rock and all that on Half-Life, and it's called Team Fortress Classic. And I love
Oh,
playing those games, man. It's a blast. I'm always like a spy or an engineer or something on there, but I can play those games for hours. And those guys have been running some of these maps for years, so I just know these people now from playing online for so many years. It's just kind of fun, but it's a nice escape from the world, But
yeah,
anyway,
really.
so again, the migrant crisis, just so that, because I saw someone in the chat room say that you're a racist. Now, just get ready for this because these things happen in my show. Okay, I know you're not a racist, but I saw someone say, this guy seems like a racist, and now someone's like, this isn't a normal one of your shows, KJ. To all of you guys, you gotta understand my shows are different every week. You may be new, check out some of the older shows, but it always changes. There's always something different happening here, and that's how we keep it. And right now we're lucky to talk to a young man that's awake. He's also accepted Christ. He's 16 years old, and he's from Sweden originally, and I'm enjoying it. It's good for us to talk to the other generations as well, and to keep an open mind. I certainly don't think you're a racist just because you're from Sweden, all right, or just because you're against the migrant crisis. Because the migrant crisis, as I call it, is it not a crisis? I mean, aren't they hurting people and things like this?
Yeah, if you don't know, Sweden have a nickname called capital of rapists because it it hap these immigrants rape bunch of women, and I just want to say to the people who call me racist that I don't think there's a race. I don't think a racist exist because when you think about it, we have the same souls. I can't pronounce that name, but yeah, we aren't different, and it's just our body. And when we reach to the heaven, we will have a new body. I just want to say that I'm not racist.
No, I love that, man. What a wise young man. Good for you. I get look, today I was just thinking about that as well. There's an old saying that, we're spiritual bodies and basically a meat suit or whatever. I don't know the saying, but that's how I've always lived my life. That's why I haven't got in some of the trouble I could have in the past. Most of the trouble I did in my life as a young person, your age and even younger, it was drugs and just things that would hurt myself. That was it. But I was never hurting other people or anything. And I just have always felt this life is temporary. I'm still amazed that I'm here now. I'm not even kidding. As a young person, I felt I'd live a short life and it'd be extreme, because I do live in extremes and I have to deal with that as well. And that goes along with my faith, that I have this strong faith, and it makes me just detest a lot of things in this world and think a lot of it's a joke sometimes. And I had to kind of grow up through that because I used to just always joke. People didn't know when I was being serious because I keep a straight face and say really crazy things. But I really meant it. Like I just thought everything was dumb, and there's no point in getting involved in all this stupidity. And I used to be a bit narcissistic about that when I was really young. And then you grow up and you start having experiences and it changes you in a lot of ways. And then you grow up more and you realize all these changes brought you back to that exact person you were when you were 16. At least I was when you were younger and more innocent. It's strange how it works. And some of us don't need to go through those cycles. I did. I've always been like it's very extreme, and in everything in life, very extreme, and had my appetites throughout the years, and mainly in drugs and things and partying and just kind of the wrong thing. But at the end of the day, it was never like me trying to be, to be mean towards God or Jesus. I still had my faith. It was just my escape. I wanted to escape, and never through suicide or anything, but I've never felt I belong here, just like we're talking about. I've always known I'm a spiritual being. I've always felt this is temporary here. It was hard for me to take it seriously. It's why I never got married and had children. It's a whole thing, man. I've always known it's temporary. I've always known there's way more than what we're seeing here in this realm. Have you had any strange, aside from the sleep paralysis, any weird supernatural experiences, anything with God that you have had, anything like that? Seen any UFOs or anything?
Not now, but when I was like 10 years old, something like that, I was really frightened, because I thought it was ghosts who like haunted me, because sometimes I could see shadow from nowhere, and sometimes I could hear steps, so I was like very frightened. So I slept with my mother like every day because of that, but it was mostly because I watched TV show. It was about ghost hunting. Hunting. I don't know. I think it was, yeah, ghost hunting. And because of it, I was like, oh, maybe I have a ghost in my apartment, and voila, I was frightened, and it happened. And when I was alone, I could hear stuff. It was really frightened.
Well, good. Well, not good, but again, it just shows me more and more. You probably, not even probably, you've got a special purpose, man, and you're probably living it day by day anyway, just being the human being that you are and being an example to other people. And I'm glad you're like that at your age already, and please continue it. I went through at that age, again, always feeling pressured into, you know, mainly it was like, sex and stuff like this through, just being at that age and having a lot of your friends doing it and thinking you're weird for not being involved or whatever. And I was always like, I'm just waiting on the right girl. Even back then I was saying that stuff, it's like, because I always knew, and this is in the Bible as well, sexual sin's a big deal. It's a real big deal. Promiscuity is a big deal. All this is a big deal. Now I know little Angel, I had my experiences throughout my life, made a big mistake. I'm telling a lot of this to a 16-year-old kid, I know, but I'm not going to call you a kid. I'm going to say a young man, because you are a young man and you don't seem like a child to me. So I'm just going to level with you. But I, as an adult, at one point when I was in the military, had an affair with a married woman. And that's what changed my life. That's what made me basically try to be almost a virgin again in a way. And it really changed my whole approach to everything, the way I looked at sex and relationships, because the guilt that I had from that, and I really cared about this lady as well. And, it felt strong, like a great relationship. I felt God. And this is how you start bringing God into it. Because I've always talked to God. Even back then, I was like, God, I don't think you would have put her in my life, if it wasn't meant to be. And I know she's married, but she's not happy. And she's got all these reasons. And you talk yourself into it and then you do it. And then, you do it more. And then as time goes on, eventually, if you still have a conscience, which thank God I always have, it kicks in. And you start realizing you're hurting other people. And I did. As time went on, the affair came out to people, and it affected a lot of people in a really bad way. And it changed my life. And what happened, that was when I was in the military. I was going through medical school in Petaluma, California in the Coast Guard, basically a year-long school for the Coast Guard when I did that. Then they separated us. She was from Alaska. They shipped her back to Alaska, and I had done my first tour in Alaska, in Kodiak Island, Alaska, which is interesting. So, but anyway, they sent her back to Alaska, and they sent me to the East Coast in Virginia, to a clinic out there in Yorktown, Virginia for the Coast Guard. And I worked in the clinic for 4 years. Now, within the first few weeks of me getting there, we were still talking on the phone. We were in love and all this. And then one night I heard her husband come in and was screaming, yelling at her, and it all came out. Like, that's when he already knew something was going on. He busted me, got on the phone, started yelling at me, telling me I was ruining his family's life, his life, all this other stuff. It was really intense. So then she called me like a few days later. I said, we need to pray about this and ask for forgiveness, and we can never talk again. And I was crying. I got on my knees and I prayed over the phone with her and just gave out this big prayer. Like, I'm so sorry, God. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done this. I realized what I did was wrong and all this other stuff, man. And that was it. I never talked to her again. And that was probably It's the way I felt at the time of there, the love of my life. So, but she was taken by somebody else, and I was crossing lines. Never talked to her again. Now here's where it gets crazy. I was at this clinic for 4 years, and this happened, like I said, in the first few weeks of me getting there out of training and starting at my job. About 2 weeks later, a new girl shows up at my clinic to work there. She's there for like me, you know, for years, like 4 years. And this is one of the most beautiful girls I've ever seen in my life. She was the perfect, we all have our perfect type. I won't say it on here for myself, but she was my perfect type of girl I like, you know. And the second our eyes locked, they didn't unlock for almost 4 years. Like we were just intensely close to each other. And she was married.
Oh.
So that, yeah, that was my test. I think God's like, okay, kid, I believe you, but we're going to let the devil test you. And that's what was my test. I never had any intercourse with her, never kissed her. We never crossed that line. I could have multiple times because we became like best friends. I mean, I had some guy friends too, but I mean, this is my best girlfriend, you know, like, and I normally had never really had that. It was hard for me to be friends with a woman without wanting to be in a relationship, right? So we made it work, and she's very religious and all this, and not just religious, but very spiritual. And it was just like the perfect fit for me. It was crazy. But I became friends with her husband, and we were friends for years, and I never crossed the line. And just before I transferred out of that unit, we found out that she was having an affair in her husband with somebody else at a community college.
Oh.
Yeah, it was crazy. So all this stuff came out. I remember having feelings where I was jealous of that person, because then I was thinking I should have done it. I should have crossed the line when I had the chance. But then I realized, wait a second, I did good because I passed that test, you know? So we think about these kind of things. But anyway, so that was that whole thing. And that was another one of my tests. And I think God does that. He allows the enemy to test us. You can tell, oh, I'm never going to do this again. There's people out there who have been so drunk and high on drugs. And I was one of them in my past. You're literally praying. You guys know what I'm talking about. Some of you older folks out there, older than 16, you've been in those situations where you make it out and you're praying, I'll never do this again. Please, God, please, Jesus. And the next weekend, you're right at it. You know, I mean, I've done that. So thank God for his mercy, right? But anyway, man, I know we're going off on a lot of different tangents. You wanted to share here, you know, and say to the people any other subjects you want to cover?
Can you repeat that? I didn't really hear you.
Absolutely. Is there anything else that you would like to talk to about tonight with the people? Any other subjects you would like to bring up?
Yeah. Do you think, you know, the planet itself is a living being?
Dang, man, that's a great question. Yeah, it's one of those subjects I never really thought much about or got into, but it's God's creation, and I know that I'm living in a jungle, and I know that there's energy that comes off of plants. That's a reality because they're living beings, and they're in the earth. The only dangerous part is it's the whole thing with Gaia, Gaia, and you can connect this to the false prophet Pope that we have now as well. Also, all the stuff that Leonardo DiCaprio and all the UN is pushing with, you know, love of Mother Earth, all this stuff is pagan in origin. Again, nothing's new under the sun. Ecclesiastes tells us this. This is earth worship. It's a living being. So you hear a lot of the New Agers, so to speak, even big people in New Age thought over the last 50 years or so, really pushing this idea that the earth is a living being. And, you know, but see, they distort it because the man we are the stewards of the earth, and we have reign over everything here, right? And the animals and plants and the earth. So there's that aspect as well, you know, but I don't know if the Bible talks much about the earth being a living being. I'll have to look into that. I've never looked into it much.
I mean, you know, the planet X, do you think the planet X, you know, is a living being?
Oh, Planet X.
Yeah.
Okay, good one. Sorry, I thought you were talking about Earth.
Sorry.
No, you're okay. I don't know. I don't think so. I think that it's going to be wormwood, which the Bible talks about. And then, of course, a lot of people want to call it Nibiru or Planet X. Nibiru comes from Zecharia Sitchin. It talks a lot about the Anunnaki and whatever. A lot of his work's been debunked, And I think he's like a lot of these other goat keepers, gatekeepers, where they give just enough truth, but there's some deception in there, you know, like even with all the reptilian theory and David Icke, I think these are the fallen. I also think these are examples of people being demonically possessed. We see their eyes like that. I don't think it's a reptilian nation from another planet that's, you know, coming to get us or something. It's the fallen ones, you know, I think. That's me. But yeah, I don't know about, like I said, there's a lot of interesting, Jay Mollett pointed this out, but yeah, you're right. There's a lot of disinformation on Nibiru. For years, I've seen people talking about it. I've covered it in a few things. I've seen a few videos I wanted to share on it. I did and talked about it over the years, but there's a lot of disinformation there as well. Don't get me wrong, man. I'm fascinated with Wormwood. Like I said, when the event comes, whatever that event may be, and whenever it may be, maybe Trump will be in there and he'll do 8 years, and then we'll have Kanye as president. Yeah, Kanye West will be president. You know, I don't know, man. Who knows? It's a free. We got him as a president, you know. So who knows what could happen? But and don't get me wrong. I said I'll take him over the witch any day. You know, if I had him over the witch. But who knows, man? I mean, when it's going to happen, but when it does, it's going to be everything. It's really going to be like Revelation says. It's going to be it's going to be a light show, dude. I mean, everything's coming out. You know, we're going to see the pits open, the locusts happening now, though, on a lot of levels. I talk about that a lot, but with all the so-called cannibal attacks, especially here in America. And so often the media says it's Flocka or it's K2. Meanwhile, they test them and there's no Flocka or K2. And the media will never say this is demonic possession, okay? But that's what I believe it is, you know?
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know. I think, you know, the presidents can be demon possession, I think. I don't know, maybe the top of the pyramid is, you know, demons. I don't know. It's just my theory about that. I don't know.
Well, there's a video, and it's another one I've been kind of saving to do for my new website. I may put it up on minds.com, but I've been saving some of my best ideas for when I get the website up. And I'll show you guys footage from a TV show from Brad Metzger called Decoded. And he wrote a book on George Bush, you know, about an autobiography. I don't trust Metzger, but he does cover a lot of conspiracies. And he's kind of one of these guys that's just trying to poo-poo a lot of these things. But he did one show that I thought was great, where he met with it was a limo driver for the elite, like for Bilderberg and UN and all this stuff. He'd done it for years. He quit. He's living somewhere on his own. He wanted to stay hidden, but he came on to Brad Metzger's show, did like a 5-minute bit. He was just saying, I wanted to come on here to tell you about what their real religion is, the elite, the people at the top. And what he was saying is that they literally meet with a council of, it's the top of the top, these people, right? Like, you know, the bloodlines and whatnot. But they literally meet with the Council of Nine, they call them. They're fallen angels. And they get their word straight from the devil itself on what to do. And then it filters down from the apex, the top of the pyramid, to all the other secret societies and everything else. And that's how that works. I don't doubt that for a second. There's an old have you heard of the Tom and Jerry cartoons?
No, actually not.
They're a real big deal in America. They're real old, man. They come from way back. Like as a little boy, I grew up on them. But Tom is the cat, okay, and then Jerry's the little mouse.
Yeah,
and it shows,
yeah.
Okay, you know it. You can see it on YouTube and stuff. Cute little cartoons. Some of them are funny. But they did one where Tom and Jerry go to Hollywood. They're in an agent's office or some Hollywood producer. And the producer's like, he wants to sign them up for a deal. He thinks they're great. So he says, we need to get the king of Hollywood here. And there's like this weird, out of the TV show Star Trek almost, one of those things that people materialize in, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the wind starts going around, and then you see this demonic, a devil show up. And then it turns into an old Jew, a pharaoh outfit, something from old Egypt. And he's surrounded by a couple of hot ladies, and he comes out of this thing, and they put the contract out for Tom and Jerry to sign. So, you know, again, just an example that the devil and his minions are literally have infiltrated so many of these entertainment, all the big industries, media, right? All this, it's infiltrated. Not everybody, it doesn't mean everybody involved in media or entertainment is worshiping the devil, but a lot of them are doing it without even realizing it. But it just goes to show you that truth, so that's what's at the top. That's what is at the apex. It's the devil and his fallen ones. Kabbalah, Hebrew Kabbalah is connected a lot to this as well, how to get in touch with these things, how to become your own God as well and speak to these spirits. So yeah, it's totally real. And that's the biggest conspiracy ever. And the one that's why they're freaking out, I think, right now too, all these mainstream media sources. Again, I wonder, because we're so close to blowing this up over the entire world, because the Illuminati, that term and all that's become really mainstream, and you don't see so many people joking about it and making fun of it anymore, because now they're looked at as the dum-dums.
Yeah.
Minority, okay. But there's so many people who know the truth of it now. It's like those are the people who are looked at as dumb, so it's out there, and the reality is here, and the veil's falling, and people are seeing things for what it is. And I think that's why the mainstream's freaking out so bad. It's like we are totally about to be exposed, and that sucks for them.
Yeah, have you heard about John F. Kennedy have been contacted with aliens? I don't know if they call it Group 9 or something. I don't know, have you heard about it?
JFK contacting the aliens?
In that way, yeah.
Well, now I don't know about that one. I've seen some funny stuff on that or whatever, and some of it I think might just be kind of goofy. So I'm not really sure about that one. But what's more realistic to me is like Hillary Clinton using a spiritualist and trying to contact Eleanor Roosevelt on top of the White House and stories like that. I mean, I know that kind of stuff happens, but the aliens, I'm not so sure. But again, that's the thing is I saw that they did the interview with Obama and Trump a while back, right? Kind of the transition interview. And it's supposed to last 15 minutes, and it went like an hour and a half or maybe 2 hours. It went really long.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes I wonder, because that to me is the time I'm guessing that the outgoing president is supposed to tell the incoming kind of some of the stuff. And I wonder if he told him some of the stuff. I would love to have been a fly on the wall in that meeting, because I wonder if he would have told him, hey, the alien thing is real, been in contact with them, they want to help us, blah, blah, blah. I just wonder sometimes, I'm not sure. We can speculate all day long, but I really wonder. But I do know that the aliens, as they call them, are going to play some kind of a role in the end time. Part of the false alien deception, perhaps it'll be Project Bluebeam connected with the actual fallen. And you can look this up too, and anybody else listening, good luck trying to find this. If you can find it, please leave me a link. Once this video is uploaded to my channel, leave me a link below if you can find this. There's a commercial that came out. Maybe it was for, I can't remember who it was. I want to say UNICEF, but UNICEF did an alien commercial a while back about a hybrid fallen one in a classroom and performing magic and all the kids learning to love him. But a few years before that, I think it was either UNICEF or another company did a commercial where it was an alien, which is a beautiful lady right here on Earth, and she kind of glowed and wore a white dress, and it showed her walking in front of tanks and stopping them and kind of changing the world and bringing peace. They had footage of her walking with Obama, right, through the White House and talking to him. And some people used that in some videos for a while, and it was great because, again, it showed some of that predictive programming of like our alien saviors. But somewhere along the line, somebody buried that stuff, because I have not been able to find that footage ever since. I guarantee you it exists. I hope you can find it. I know I've got a lot of great internet sleuths out there listening. If you can find it, try to find that footage of that commercial of an alien, like a beautiful, white-haired alien, glowing dress, white dress, stopping all these, bad things happening in the world and walking with Obama at the White House. And that was, to me, some of the most heavy predictive programming I've seen for our fake alien saviors. So does that sound familiar? I don't know if you ever saw that or not. I think I may have lost him.
Hello?
Oh, hey, can you hear me okay, man?
Yeah, I can. I think I have found the link. I don't know, you can correct me. Wait, here is it.
Try to put it down there in the chat for the people. Man, that was quick. Good for you.
I don't know if it's correct, but wait.
I don't know. You can take a look, but if you can find it, that'd be great. But anyway, it was another example of that predictive programming. And we know they can fake things. We know there's a Project Bluebeam. There have been plenty of videos out there showing how they can do this animation before your very eyes. It looks real. Even the hologram stuff they do, they had Tupac Shakur performed a whole concert as a hologram. I don't know if you saw that. They did a little thing with Anderson Cooper on CNN for a while where they brought him in as a hologram and other people in as a hologram. So you know they can, and they can do more than that, you know? So makes me wonder. But go ahead.
Yeah. Wait a second. Wait.
Go ahead and keep going, and I'm going to go to my chat for a little bit because I want to kind of jump in here and do some of the old school and see how the people are doing tonight and see if there's any questions or just see what they're talking about. Okay? So let's see here. 72nd Human, good to see you. Mia, always a pleasure. Sorry if I don't shout you out, guys. I try not to spend too much time on it, but I try to throw it out there as well, you know, from time to time. We got a huge crowd here tonight, so thank you. But I just want to make sure that, let's see, that I'm getting any questions, if there are any questions. Hope Angel Info. How old is KJ? I don't think I'll ever tell you, but I have a good memory for all this stuff. And I'm a big pop culture junkie, so I've taken all this stuff in for years, you know. Eden Infant Pause says, do y'all think Phil Schneider was a fake? Phil Schneider, if you don't know, is it's about the Dulce, New Mexico base, I think, the underground base, and he got into a laser gun fight with aliens, I believe is what the story is. And I don't mean to downplay it. I need to look more into it, man, because I've seen a lot of these stories about him. I've read a lot of this stuff. But, man, I don't know. I've been suckered in before in the past. So sometimes I'm just not sure what to think. But I'll have to look at the Phil Schneider, Schneider, Dulce, Dulce, New Mexico base. You can look into that story. It's very interesting, to say the least. And let's see what else we got going on over here tonight. See how you're all doing. If y'all have any questions, you just want to talk about something, got any subjects you want to bring up, we'll go ahead and do that, okay? Always a Hope says it's on YouTube, KJ. Cool, thanks, man. I haven't been able to find it, but I'll have to, if you can find a link, that'd be cool. But it's an interesting video to check out for sure. Somebody says search UNICEF alien commercial. Yeah, but that will probably show you the one where it's the little kid in the classroom alien. I'd like to find the one of the lady alien walking with Obama. Oh, and yeah, and also on top of all this stuff, they got Sheriff Joe Arpaio just came out with his study, which I mean, there's no denying it that Obama's birth certificate is a fake. So all this stuff's coming out at the same time. Of course, the mainstream is not covering that, but you have this huge awakening that's happening right along at the same time. It's paralleling is a word, all the censorship in the mainstream media, fake news hoax type stuff, all the social media cramping down. Chase DeLong, hi man. What's up, Jeff? How you doing? Hope Angel, J. Irvin. Jeffrey Lane says Dulce was true. Thanks, man. I'm going to look more into it. LePup1, what's up, buddy? Laddie Matthews. J. Irvin, I said. Chase DeLong asks, he says, KJ, what do you think about Kleck and his New York City bombing by Russia? I'm headed to New York to see my brother on the 6th with my girlfriend, and I'm a little nervous. Not that I live in fear anymore, but still. Man, Chase, I'm glad you asked that. Look, some of you know that I love Jonathan. I consider him like more than a friend, like a brother. I've met this man in life. He's awesome. He's a good man. I've been friends with him on YouTube years before that. We've always kind of chatted here and there throughout the years. Gosh, I remember talking to him when I was still living in Austin on the phone before I ever moved to Oklahoma and before I ever came out here to Central America. So we've been buds for a long time. I've always respected his work. He's misunderstood by a lot of people, I think, once you get to meet him and talk to him. We laughed about this stuff about him being a reptilian or him being a fallen angel. You have to listen to what he's saying, okay? It's not quite like that. I see a lot of jerky so-called religious people or Christians taking a lot of his words out of context and just being vicious. I saw some podcasts where people just spent the whole time just making fun of Jonathan Kleck and ridiculing the guy. Beyond that, guys, if we're going to call ourselves Christians, let's really try to act like it. Let's really try to walk the ways of Christ. Would Jesus be on a podcast on YouTube ripping some of the Christian apart because he doesn't believe in his dogma or his religion or his beliefs? Man, these are things I question, and this is why I don't like to call myself a Christian very often. It's almost shameable by YouTube standards now. I don't trust half the people on YouTube that call themselves Christians because I look at the way they act. They love casting stones. I had some douche that was following me around recently, calling himself a Christian, and putting messages all over videos saying that I was hacking myself and that I was hacking other people, like some young lady called Millennial. I'm not sure the last name, but it's Millennial something, but she's been doing a lot of Pizzagate videos. And this jerk was saying that, I'm hacking myself, I'm hacking this person, I'm doing all this wicked stuff, but he's, big Christian, he says. And I told this dum-dum, you're ignorant. You need to do your research and realize I was hacked. This young lady did a video showing a message from an email server to her that admitting that they hacked me, and now they're threatening to hack her. Again, I don't like talking about this drama stuff. It's stupid. But the point is, and this guy's supposed to be a Christian. And then I go to my main page on Facebook, like my public page, and this jerk went over there and is putting these lies and false accusations about me there as well. But he's a Christian. I should trust him. No, I'm such a loner. In real life, it's hard for me to really trust people, in real life. And I'm better just being alone or with Rascal or with, a few friends here. And that's it. And not trusting other people. That's just the way it is. I don't trust titles. I look at your fruits. I don't listen to your words. I look at your fruits. I'm rambling. I do that. Hi, Timothy Murphy. Nice to see you, buddy. Luke LHB. Dude, I don't care about the flat earth. What's up with the flat earth here, Luke says. Are you a real channel? Are you a real person? Are you a paid agent? Or are you just a secondary channel for other YouTubers who like to use these secondary channels to stalk and harass? I've covered the flat earth thing multiple times to the point where I don't want to cover it. I don't want to do videos on it. I don't care about it. There's so much more happening right now that has my attention, that's so much more important, I feel, for me to get out and to focus on than flat earth. If I'm wrong, so be it. I would love for it to be true. I don't care either way, really, but prove it. Prove it. I'm not going to get focused on it. That being said, I've got a handful of people that I'm subscribed to and friends with on YouTube that I greatly respect, and they really do believe in it. And that's fair enough, man. I think it's great. I don't dislike them for it. I just think it's one of those things we can agree to disagree on. I love them for the other work they do as well. I hope they love me for what I do and the fact that I have some respect that I just don't, I'm not into that. Because out of all the years I've been on YouTube, the most vicious attacks I've had, aside from people claiming to be Christians that turn out to be really cruel and rude, are the flat earthers. So that's why I get burned so much by groups and people and all this. I just, excuse me, I don't really want to be around it, so I don't know. But SDR Worley, who's a buddy of mine, says Phil Schneider's a G. So I'll throw that out there for you. All right. And let's keep on moving down and see what we got. Order of the Black Sun 7 says, have you seen the series Black Mirror? Absolutely. I'm a huge fan. I've mentioned it and covered some of it in other videos in the past, even on my KJ channel. Absolutely brilliant show. The best episode I saw from the third season, which just came out, aside from the first episode, which had Ron Howard's daughter in it. I can't remember her name. That was a really cool episode because I like the overall message. But it was the episode where they had basically the most evil trolls ever. The most evil, wicked internet troll you could ever imagine. They did an episode on Black Mirror of this, of the most evil, wicked ever trolls and how far they can go. And that was, to me, one of the best episodes of the series because that kind of thing can happen. Can you imagine if, I don't even want to get too much into it, but just check it out. It was, I can't remember the name of that episode, but man, it had a good impact. And, sometimes, of course, there's spiritual things happening here as well. A lot of people who are atheist and agnostic and are really good with movies and TV shows and writing and directing, I believe they're used as puppets spiritually without even realizing it. And then there's people who are really a part of the lodge and they know what they're doing. I think it's a mix. So I don't know, but sometimes God has people who are awake and aware. God has warriors in all aspects of this world, and some of them have made it in Hollywood and these other places. And they didn't have to sign the contract. And they can put these movies out and TV shows out with a lot of truth that people need to see. So I kind of feel like the Black Mirror guy may be that guy or one of them. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, but he's does some amazing stuff. Black Mirror is absolutely brilliant, in my opinion. Now I'm going to have religious people. KJ's trying to make us watch the devil's TV. KJ's leading us to hell. Get out of here. Let's go back here a little bit and see what else we got now. So I just refreshed the page. I don't want to think that we lost Epic. Epic, are you still here? I'm rambling. Why don't you jump in here if you're ready, and then I'll go back to the chat in a bit.
Hi.
Hey, man, go ahead.
Yeah. Just a question. Have you seen the TV series Gotham?
Gotham is one of my favorite TV shows. I'm a geek. I'm sorry, I have to admit it. I've done some videos on it because there is some occult symbolism in there. And of course, there's some predictive programming, and there's also some social engineering that they made penguins gay in this one.
Yeah, I know. Have you seen the latest one?
The last one I saw is when Inspector Gordon had to shoot the guy that was about to attack his ex-girlfriend, like the day it was her husband, or she was about to get married, and he shot the guy. Is that the last episode?
Yeah, I think so. Do you know you know when what's his name again? Bruce and Catgirl cough the ring. Do you know that scene?
Where Bruce and Catgirl caught the ring? Was that when they were with Poison Ivy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a hole in that ring, on that ring. Do you remember?
I don't. Go ahead and repeat that again and tell the audience. Was it a symbol? I can't remember.
Basically, on the ring it was a hole, and yeah, and last end of the scene, you can see Gordon's dad have the same ring. So I was thinking about maybe they are showing us that it's a Freemason cult. I don't know.
No, I think you're right, because remember, there's I can't remember the secret society, but there's that secret society, right, in Gotham, and they're basically the Illuminati.
Yeah, and some of them have a mask.
That's right. Yeah, they show the parties where they have the masks, and you can go back and look at those pictures online from the Rothschilds' parties from the 70s, where they have like half-naked women on the table and people are all wearing masks, and it's that creepy eyes wide shut type stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And what's even on that level, I'll say, I'm going to do a video soon on 50 Shades of Grey, because they got the new one coming out, and that one shows all them wearing the masks and having sex and all that, and that's all a part of that. It's all a part of those secret societies. Again, America is being, and the people in general in the world, they're being susceptible to this stuff in that way. They're being it's a revelation of the method type thing. They're being shown these truths from the shadows, but in a way that they can like and they can appreciate. So, and look at these 50 Shades of Grey. It's one of the most popular books ever all around the world, and it's all about men dominating women, sadomasochism and all this other stuff. I did this story a while back. At least I put it in a video, but there's a hotel chain in America that decided to take. They used to in America. I don't know how they do in Sweden, but they, well, you're in America now, but they put Bibles in a lot of these hotels, right? Like in the drawers. Did you know that?
In Sweden, there's no one in Sweden really are Christians. If I need to be, there's no Christian. Yeah, it is Christians, but they are accepting gay marriage and etc.
It's like a universalism, or there's terms for it. There's different branches of the religion here. Right, they're Protestant, but the denomination, I think it's Unitarian is a big one in America, where they have even like gay, like women, gay ministers, and they're big into all that stuff or whatever. And I don't know, man. Again, I don't believe in these religions anyway. So when they'd start doing goofy stuff, there's a religion in South Africa, a church where the guy had the people out there rolling around in the field eating grass. I mean, it's just, when I see these religions, I'm not surprised by anything they try to do, because religion comes from man. And that doesn't mean that the people involved in religions are bad people. I think it's filled with millions of wonderful people who love God, know Jesus. They're just, maybe they were raised in this religion, maybe they need the community, whatever it is. And there's different people in all these churches. So I can't condemn them all. I never would. I have some of my great friends are church-going people, but they know it. They're aware of it. They know what's going on. They know better. Because we should never suscept ourselves to a religion in the way that we go in, we literally sit under our preacher and pastor. He's on a stage, like in Hollywood, in a movie, and he looks down on you. And it's his interpretations of the Bible that he's telling you or what the truth is. This is some dude telling me this. And then they want me to give them money for this. I'm not a fan. I have experienced enough with religion in my life to come to this conclusion. I'm finished with it. It makes me want to love my God and love Jesus so much more and be closer. And I work on that in my own personal life. I don't like that idea of someone just going to church the whole lives. I know people who've done it, even people in my family, same church, and listen to that preacher up on stage. And he's never talking to you about the stuff we talk about here on my show, the stuff we all like to talk about in real life, the true nature of the devil in our world, the truth of this, right? So we can expose these things, so we can battle these things. It's always the same stories, at least all the churches I went to. It's like, hey guys, get ready. Are you ready? Today we're going to talk about, Jonah in the well. All right. Ready with Jonah in the well. All right. Well, that's great, but there's never any deeper interpretations of the Bible. A lot of it is metaphorical. A lot of it's really deep. I think you need to read it by yourself and on your own and pray for an open mind and pray that God guides you and say, Father, show me what's in here, please. Because the Bible's filled with mysteries. But some of these religions just erase the mysteries. They take everything surface. And most of these people are, again, as I say time and time again, some of the most judgmental and hateful people I've ever met. There's a pastor I used to follow on YouTube called Stephen Johnson, Stephen Patterson. I can't remember his name, but he's a preacher at a Baptist church. And I would listen to him just because I liked some of his sermons. I'd listen every now and then. There was a lot of people I listened to. I just like Pastor Dowell. I listen to his channel some. I don't agree with everything. But Stephen Johnson, gosh, what's his name? I think it's Stephen Johnson. But I saw a video where he jumped up on his pulpit and was talking about, he used the word, pardon the language, he used the word faggots, and that faggots needed to die, and faggots are going to go to hell. And that just kills me, because I've had throughout the years great friends, even family, that are homosexual, and I do believe it's a sin. Okay, and I'm glad I don't have that monkey on my back, so to speak. But I know it's a sin. I don't believe in it. I don't think it's good, but I'm a sinner as well. I'm not clean. And thank God Jesus saves all of us. He cleanses us of all of our sins. And yes, we should repent, but repentance isn't always overnight. I'm still working on things. I've cleaned a lot of my life, but there's other things I'm working on. And this is how it is. We're clay. We're being molded by our Father once we have him, once we have accepted Christ. So gay people are saved if they love Jesus and love God. I think they're saved. Okay, and if they're really trying to follow the ways of Christ, I'm not saying the ones in the gay parades wearing Speedos and shaking their junk and stuff. I mean, that's a whole other story. You're living in sin, really, like you're embracing it, enjoying it. But if you, for whatever reason, have those inclinations to be homosexual and you struggle with it, maybe you've got relationships, maybe you got this, you got that. I don't care. I don't need to know about that nasty stuff. I don't care. Even straight sex, I don't want to know about everyone's business. I got friends, hey, dude, hey, KG, I got to tell you, I banged this broad the other night, dude. Dude, she had the biggest honkers. I mean, whatever. I don't care, dude. Like, I don't need to know all the gross, greasy stuff with this. It's not my thing. So, but at the same time, I'm not your judge. I'm not the jury. I have Christ. You have Christ. And start acting like it. Try to, okay? You're not going to be perfect all the time. You're going to make mistakes, and we all have our weaknesses. Like I said, mine were always more personal, more like, drug use, partying too hard. Just escapism. It's part of, that was my thing, and I still have to watch it. We always We have our things, you know. But the gay people, I have no hatred towards them. I got a lot of love for them. And when I worked in Hollywood, some of the gay people I met were genuinely some of the sweetest, kindest people I ever met. They never tried to touch me or grab me or whatever, you know. I mean, and then you'll meet a lot of religious people that turn out to be the most hateful, condemning, and judgmental. So I continue to try to follow the ways of Christ. I love everyone. I give everyone a chance and a break. I try to look at their path, at their walk, at their history, why they are the person they are now. I try to understand. I want to relate. And I invite them all in. Some of the people I respect the most on YouTube that have YouTube channels are atheists and agnostics. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
Because some of these people are bright. They're brilliant. It pains me they don't know Christ, but my thing is to befriend them, you know, and to show them my way and show them the way the best I can, because I want to help them. I know that sounds funny because they'd look at me like I'm being a jerk. Oh, you're trying to help me. Okay, KJ. Well, it's like, you know, hey, man, I love what you say on some of this. I don't agree with maybe 40%, but the other 60, we can relate. And then people that say, but why are you hanging out with darkness? You know, you shouldn't be hanging out with the darkness, you know. And I get that as well. I'm not running around with Satanists and witches and stuff. Don't get me wrong. It's not like that. But I care for everyone. I want everyone to be free. And I think Christ sets us free, period. And I want them to know that freedom and how good it feels. You know, anyway, I'm rambling. Go ahead.
Yeah, a bunch of these pastors just, talking about the good stuff, but don't really talk about the bad stuff. And that's really, I don't know, it's a bad thing because you really need to talk about the bad stuff. That's how you learn stuff.
I agree. Thanks, man. You've got to show it to expose it. And again, that goes back to my distaste for many people that call themselves Christians or the religious people. I get this message from a handful of people all the time. Why are you showing people this evil stuff? You should be reading your Bible. You should be preaching the gospel. You know, and it's like, dude, I am not evangelical. There are many branches to this tree for those of us that follow Christ and love God. And we all have different gifts and abilities. I was made to do this. I'm not trying to sound arrogant or anything. This is why I don't worry. People, oh, what if they take your channel away, KG? What if they do this and do that? Then God's already got something else set up for me because he wants me, I believe, to do this. This is what I'm meant to do. In whatever capacity, I'll be taken care of and protected. Period. I ain't worried about it. But you'll have a lot of these people, again, the ultra-religious, you know, you never mention Jesus. It's like I always mention Jesus, just not in the way you want me to. And like I said, I see these religious people, just they love making videos on each other and casting stones. Remember the story of the stones, people. Do you not even know Christ? Do you not even know the real Messiah? It's a bummer, dude. It bums me out. And I really want to go after some of these people sometimes, seriously. But I've got to quell that because I don't want my energy going into attack videos. I just want to keep showing things the way I see. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they really want people, to talk about the good stuff. I don't know. But
it's prosperity preaching. When I remember I worked on, when I was in LA, I worked on a TV show called Big Brother. Have you ever heard of that TV show?
The reality show?
Yeah, it's a reality show. It's real big in the UK.
Have you been in the show?
Man, I was never a contestant, but when I worked in Los Angeles, I worked on 2 seasons. It was like 7 and 8 or 8 and 9. I can't remember. But one of the seasons, if anybody is a Big Brother fan, some people in America love it, there was a season where we had guinea pigs inside the house. I've mentioned this story in the past. I wound up, when the show ended, adopting those 2 guinea pigs. And they were my best little buddies. And they were friends of mine in LA for a couple of years. And they were my pets. It was Pancake and Lucille. And this is before, this isn't Lucy for Lucifer. This is before Negan from Walking Dead. I just thought my little buddy looked like Lucille, and the other one was called Pancake. And I loved these things because I was a writer in LA, and I would put this blanket, or not a blanket, a pillow on my lap, and I would put the guinea pigs there. I had a bag of carrots, and I would write for hours. And like every 20 minutes, just so I'd drop a carrot down and let them chew on that. They loved it, you know. And they were just little buddies to have while I was writing. I loved them. But they were in the big house, or they were in the Big Brother house. And part of our job as production assistants, it's what I did, is we'd go in there and feed the animals. We would place different things in there for contests and whatever. We worked on all the contests. It was a really cool job, man. But I was never on camera. But The house is built on a lot of CBS. It's in Los Angeles, right? Can't remember the name of the city now, gosh. But anyway, it was a whole house built on a lot on CBS. So I worked for CBS. And there's cameras everywhere because it's a house built, like I said, on CBS. And all around the house was another building built on top of it to where there was like this dark room all around the house with a little track that went all around the house through all the windows, and they would put their cameras, these huge cameras on these wheels on that track, and they could push it all around through these things. And so there are mirrors on the other side, on the side of the house, but to us, we could see through the mirror. So the camera guys are running around all day long on these tracks. It was really cool. And we'd sneak back there and just hang out with the guys. Now, this is just being real, and I know it's really perverted, but this is what some dudes do. On Big Brother, the people are in the house for like months. So anytime one of the pretty girls would go take a shower, you would find a team of about 20 dudes right there on that mirror in the bathroom, like watching, the girl to come out and take the shower. I'm just being real with you. This is the kind of stuff people did. So a lot of times I would have downtime. I wouldn't have to be somewhere at a certain time. I didn't have work to do. Would be waiting to get into the house, have maybe half an hour, 45 minutes. And we were all really good friends there. I had a lot of great friends on the show. But a lot of us had different jobs to do and whatever. So sometimes I'd find downtime. I would sneak into that area where all the cameras were. And this is when there's not much going on, right? And I would go find a little hidden spot. Because, okay, so you had the house, you had the track, you had the cameras on the track, and then just behind the cameras and the cameraman, you had a curtain. So it was real dark in there, man. And these guys worked inside that curtain. But you could find these little weird spots in there where there was never camera people because there's no contestants going to be in that particular part of the house for hours. And I would hide there and I would read these books. And back then I was reading a lot of Joel Osteen. Do you know who that is?
Not really.
Joel Osteen is one of these prosperity preachers, like what you're saying. He's one of these big religious preachers in America. He's got a huge church following and all this. And all he writes about is, you know what I mean? He looks goofy, right?
Yeah.
His wife's a total Jezebel. That's my opinion. She's a Jezebel spirit that runs him, but he looks like a little simp, like a beta male or whatever, but he's run by her. But every story is all happy and positive, and that's the tickling in the ears we hear from the Bible. Don't let don't try to have your ears tickled, because he tickles your ears because it's all happy, good, blah blah blah, nothing dark, nothing negative. And I read a lot of that stuff back then, and that was my whole thing. But then I had my awakening when I was in LA, like I said, to the reality of this stuff. And even back then, I was like, why aren't more people talking about this? The devil is running stuff here. I almost said a bad word. The devil's running stuff here. People need to know. And that's when I made my movie. And I've been on that track ever since, trying to show the darker elements of this. And then you battle again with people that call themselves Christians, the religious people, the modern day Pharisees, the legalists. You shouldn't be showing scary images. Why do you talk about darker? It's like I'm helping the world. I don't want to be involved in an echo chamber like these religious people. And that's an echo chamber. These churches are an echo chamber, right? That means they're just preaching to the choir. So I knew I was going to take lumps doing what I do. I'm good with it. You get called a shill, a fake, a CIA, an Illuminati, a Freemason, that you hate Jesus, you hate Christ, you hate Christians. It's just, you get it all. But all of you little haters, we're all going to wake up to this. You're all going to wake up to this someday and realize that we were trying to do good. Now, most of the people that follow this get that. But anyway, I'm rambling.
Just curious question. How was your experience in the ABC house? Yeah,
I'll tell you. When I was in CBS, because of course it's the all-seeing eye. CBS is the all-seeing eye. I met Julie Chen, who's the hostess of the show. I have actually worked with her. I knew them. It's not like I'm friends with these people. I met tons of people, man. Seth Green, he does Robot Chicken. Yeah, I met him. I got a whole story about him and his wife. I knew his wife years ago when they were just dating. You live out there for so long, man. You just wind up having experiences and meeting people. And again, this is before I was awake. But once I woke up, like I said, none of that stuff mattered anymore. I had an agent. I was trying to sell horror and sci-fi scripts. When I woke up, man, I was done, because I kind of got it. Even back then, I was like, wow, I've been chasing the satanic industry, and this is all I ever wanted to do. But it's like, Now that I'm awake, all I want to do is talk about this and find out what the truth is, you know, and share it with people. But it was never anything demonic or evil. I was approached twice out there by different people to be a Freemason or to come check out the Masonic Lodge. I never did. That was the only kind of connection to that stuff I had. But I went to a lot of Hollywood parties and stuff. Like
Wow.
not, yeah. Have you ever heard of the movie called Super Troopers?
Not really.
It's a comedy about these police up in Canada, and it's just a goofy comedy. But I partied with all those guys before, and I don't know. Just I had a lot of experiences, man. But it was never anything Illuminati, never anything satanic. I didn't get that far. You know, I was a guy working as a production assistant on tons of reality shows. I had a good reputation, so I'd always get new work. And I was writing horror and science fiction films to get into the industry. You know, and I actually had huge meetings with big companies, man. I was trying to develop a show for NBC, and I had a team, a married couple that had my back. They were friends with my agent, and I had meetings there. And it was about this, you know, and this is years ago, okay, before I was awake. But it was back then, it was just called Agent, but it was all about the secret agent. But he knew all about, and it's funny because I woke up later, but he knew all about this, you know, all the secrets of everything. There was a whole episode I wrote where he was actually friends with Sasquatches. I know this sounds funny, but you find out in the series that a Sasquatch, a Bigfoot, these were Indians from a tribe from many years ago. They were cursed by another tribe to be beasts and also to be immortal. They could never die. So as the years went on, these things became what we now know as Bigfoot, and they lived in the mountains and in caves, and they would help you and tell you anything you needed to know if you brought them books. Because when you went to their caves, they were lined with just like little flames up on the corners with a light in there. But it was like a library. It was like a cave filled with books, and these things thirsted for knowledge. These old Indians, right, that looked like monsters, and they were monsters. And I had a whole sequence where they fought against bad agents when they tried to come get the good guy. I mean, this whole thing, man, I've got an imagination. So I've talked about some of these shows in the past. I had a horror film called Tonight He Walks about basically a group of Masons or whatever that's conjured the spirit that in one night it would walk, it would live, and it needed blood, and it needed to kill as many people as possible. So they raised this thing up, and they were going to take it through a neighborhood, basically, like let it go through this small neighborhood in the middle of nowhere. And these Masons were going in and killing people, right, and pulling them out, the bodies and stuff. But they were all dressed like Satanists, you know, and like black robes and stuff. But they come into this one house, and there's a lady standing there in a wedding dress. She's got plastic all over her living room floor, and she has a pistol in her mouth. She's about to kill herself. And she changes her mind and blows these two dudes away that are wearing these robes. And then a couple more come in. Her neighbor comes home, who's a nurse named Patsy. She comes up. She kind of gets in some tangles, gets a gun. Her husband had already been killed by these people, so she gets a gun. So the whole movie is this girl. You find out later why she's going to commit suicide, but she's wearing her wedding dress, and she has this huge butcher knife with her name and her husband Bobby on there for their wedding cake. So she's fighting Satanists in her wedding dress with this butcher knife, and then her neighbor Patsy in the nursing outfit has this like 357. So it's these two women fighting against all these Satanists in this small neighborhood and all these different houses. It gets really crazy. But I took that to Trancas Media, the people that did all the Halloween films, all the Michael Myers movies, and I almost sold it. Never sold it, but I was real close. So I had some close calls, man. I used to write some really violent, wild stuff. Then I woke up and all this. And then I think when you know my history, it makes sense, right? I call myself the scariest movie ever, and I cover some of the things I do. So anyway, anything else on your mind, man? What's up? We've been going go ahead.
Yeah, do you still in touch with them?
No, man, I totally left all that stuff behind. It was pretty tough. I even left behind a lot of friends I've never talked to since. Had a really rich friend named Stefano. He was an Italian producer. He was trying to create some kind of almost like a Comedy Central for Europe. He may have done it. I don't know. He's also the guy that told me, and this is years ago when I was in Hollywood, that George Clooney was gay and his partner was like a tranny. And this is like a long time ago. And Stefano's, one of his cousins was a priest at the Vatican. And he was called the Hollywood priest, or the priest for Hollywood, because all these Hollywood people knew this guy. So George Clooney and his boyfriend/girlfriend at the time wanted this guy to marry them. And this is years ago before I was awake. And now you see him running around with the wife he has. And I'm always looking at her sideways, kind of thinking, well, she does kind of look like a dude, I mean, I don't know. She's, I don't know. It makes me wonder. So, but I had some interesting friends, man. The last thing I did in Hollywood, I was working on a cartoon show for Cartoon Network. Is the last thing I did. So, yeah, I did a lot of stuff, man. But anyway, I had my awakening. It rocked my world. It completely turned my paradigm upside down. As much as I thought I knew Jesus and God, I had no idea until I was awake. And then crazy things started happening. Some supernatural stuff. I got hacked even. Some of that stuff started happening. It just got really weird. And that's when I knew this is what I'm going to dedicate my life to. I want to know what the truth is. And I want to see people talk about this. And I want to talk about all the stuff that I see no one else really talking about. There's a handful of people, but that's it. And that's what started it, man. And it took me down a crazy journey. And now it led me here to Central America. And I'm talking with you. So
yeah, it's a very awesome that you've been working, in Hollywood, and it's also kind of good because it's also showing people that not everyone in Hollywood is, satanic, evil. It can be good people in the industry, but yeah.
Yeah, there are some good people. That's the other thing. That's why I hate to see it when people do that. They just get so black and white. Everyone in Hollywood signed the soul to Satan. It's like, no, they didn't. Because I knew people out there working on some cool stuff that were cool people and good people. And they talked about God, and they were awake, and, they weren't maybe necessarily following Christ's ways and everything, but, they were one of his kids. I knew this. And I knew some people that have done some really cool things out there. And some of them I've seen continue on some levels to do things, and some I've seen just disappear. And that's where I wonder if they disappeared because they got to that point where they, had to go to the agent's office and go through the red curtains and say, well, you ready to do this TV show or this movie? We need you to sign this contract. And as they read the lines, they're like, dude, there's no way I'm doing that. I mean, I just wonder. And I think that's what happens to a lot of these people. A lot of movies, TV shows, you see there's like great actors and actresses. And you're like, man, whatever happened to them? They're so good, And I always think that that's what happened is a lot of them probably took that. They got to that next level. They had the meeting. They realized they're going to have to, be a Mason or get involved with this stuff or whatever, or sign the contract. And it freaked them out, man. And they were done, They were done. I think that's how it works. So I don't, and again, we're in the Bible even tells us we're not supposed to cast false accusations on people, which I see people guilty of it on me and other people all the time. It's annoying. You're not supposed to do that. So when I make videos, I make sure I research them and I put everything out that I believe. And I try not to say they're all with the devil, guys, they're all this or that, because they're not, because God's more powerful than the enemy. And God has people in Hollywood and Wall Street. And I know God's got people everywhere. So we got to not, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm working in the beast system too. I'm on YouTube, man. We've been riding this dragon for years, Go ahead.
Yeah, like if yeah, if everyone were, satanic, yeah, it wouldn't, it, I don't know, I'm digressing, but either way, I think it's very good that you show your part of side in, in the industry, so people know. Um, yeah, and also, how was your experience with Cartoon Network? The boss. I don't know.
With what?
What was your experience with the Cartoon Network? I'm just curious.
With the network? Which one?
Cartoon Network.
Oh, Cartoon Network. Okay, well, there's a what's his name? I'm thinking he's a famous Italian horror director. He made a movie called Suspiria. The horror fans are going to know who I'm talking about. Suspiria. Gosh, what's his name? Famous Italian horror writer director. Made a movie called Suspiria. I was tapped to write an animated horror show for Cartoon Network with this guy's name on it. And I can't remember his name now, but you can look it up. Suspiria. Suspira. And he was big into what they call Italian Gallo, Gallo, which is just, really bloody kills, femme fatales, beautiful women, sex. I mean, it was like a whole Italian genre back then. Gosh, I can't remember his name. Anyway, so I wrote this series, and it was about a traveling circus that had, and this is years ago, real vampires, real werewolves, and the werewolves were like kids that had skin conditions, but they looked like little wolves, but their family history was actually connected to wolves. And I had this whole thing drawn out like a real circus freak show. And they were battling against a group of goth kids that were into Satanism in this small town that would commit, all kinds of atrocities. And they were actually gaining power from the devil and really getting off on the power they were getting. And the whole show led up to a whole showdown between these goth kids with demonic entities and powers fighting against all these innocent people at this circus that were the freaks, right? And yeah, I thought it was really cool. But even this guy, he wrote back when I finished the series, it was too violent even for him. Again, this is before I was awake, but he said it was too violent and dark and messed up for him. I'm like, I thought that's what this guy wanted. He's got his name. He's made his name making violent movies, so it was too dark. But that was the last one. And then I started a series. I almost don't want to talk too much about it because I thought about creating it on my internet or on my website or even on YouTube. But it was a comedy series, and there were different episodes, and none of them connected to the other one. But one was called Dead Dog, about a family that kept trying to get their old dog outside so they could put it to sleep because it was ready to die, but it wasn't. And it was working with the guinea pig in the house to like figure out different ways to keep from having to go outside. Each episode is really weird and goofy. So there was that. There was one called Peanut Butter Loves Jelly. It was all about what happens when the refrigerator door closes and how all the condiments come alive. And this is before Sausage Party. They got sausage parties out now, but so it'd be like Peanut Butter really loved jelly, and there was like the bad guys in there and good guys and all this drama. And so I was just making all these different things. But like I said, man, when I really woke up, it shocked my system. It made me not look at any of that stuff the same anymore. I didn't care anymore. I made a movie called The Scariest Movie Ever Made back then, and I put it online and got took down from several different places, but it's online now on Vimeo, and someone else uploaded it on YouTube, which I appreciate. But that was my first thing, man. I put all my talents to making a 2-hour-long movie about the Illuminati, basically, almost 10 years ago. And then from there, I started a website, and I put up other people's videos for years. Then I started my YouTube channel, and one day I saw an ad for Rin Tin Tin, which is a Steven Spielberg animated movie. Maybe you saw it, about a boy and his dog. And the cover, it was on YouTube, was a Freemason handshake. I was like, wow. So I put my iPhone up to the computer and put some music on the background. I was like, Freemason handshake. It's all I said. It's like 30 seconds long. You can see it's my first video on YouTube. And that's what started it all. From there, we're here now, man. Look at that. Isn't it crazy? Years later, we get all these videos, radio shows, chat shows, other sites, and that's what happened. So I am genuinely an example of one of those people that red pilled many years ago, and I never looked back. I just wanted to keep finding the truth and hopefully helping other people.
I don't know. I think it's very cool that you've been, working inside Hollywood. Yeah, but I'm also wondering, what should I say? Forgot what I. Wait.
Go ahead.
I forgot.
That's okay. We were talking about Hollywood. We're talking about waking up out there, not wanting to be involved. Talking about Cartoon Network, writing for that horror film director. What's his name? And turning around on that dream. I wanted to do the comedy series I talked about, which I may do even on my website. Maybe I'll start adding some of that in. I don't know. That's just another extension of me, though. I mean, what I do, I think, is for me, it's important. Go ahead.
Yeah. What does your family thinks about your YouTube channel?
So I've got a sister that we don't like each other, and I was adopted as a little boy, first off. I don't know my father who had me. I tried to get an attorney to find out more about the family when I went to film school because I was going to I'm an Indian. They say on my birth certificate, I'm Cherokee Indian and German. So I wanted to, and I have a large percentage of Indians. So I think I look more German than anything, but I wanted to prove it so I could get benefits for college. And the story she came back with, I didn't meet her, but this is true. And she said that she met him at a concert. He was on stage. This is in Oklahoma. She partied with him after. They had sex and they had me. So I don't know who the original father is. And my mom and dad love thinking about it. Like, oh, maybe you're, Jim Morrison's child or whatever. They don't know. We all think about it and talk about it, but we don't know. But there was that. So then I was adopted at 7 by my father, Jim. And that's Rascal. Hi, buddy. And we've gone ever since. Now, from a very early age, I was 13 years old. And one night I freaked out in the house because I was just things I've been thinking about, dreams I've been having. I told my mom, I was yelling, Mom, Dad, Mom. They came into my room and they were like, what's wrong? And I said, I'm going to live to see Jesus come back. I was 13, right? And they thought I was, they didn't say it, but they sent me to a child psychologist. So I know they thought I was kind of cuckoo, toot, toot. But I went to the psychologist and she was amazing and it really helped me out a lot as a young kid. It's the only time I've ever been to a psychologist, though. And at the end, it was just us just being real with each other. The point of the matter is that I always knew God, even as a little boy. I believed in God and Jesus. And I talked to them. It wasn't just me going to church. I talked. And I saw things. I don't like to talk a lot about it, but I felt things. I knew things. So I always knew. The point of me telling you is my mom and dad always knew I was different, even all through high school and everything else I've done in my life. And they just accepted it. Like I would say, hey, I'm going to go be a bounty hunter. Okay, go do it. Hey, I'm getting my private detective license. Go do it. I'm going to go work in Hollywood. All right, whatever. They've been very supportive and they've let me just kind of do all this. When it comes to my videos and my work, my sister was adopted from a different family. She's like 4 years older than me. She does not like me at all. Never really did. I don't enjoy holidays with the family very much because of it. She has her own nephew, her own children, which is my nephew and niece, like 16 and 14, that think I'm nuts. And they treat me that way when I go home. There's no love for KJ. I'm telling you that. I'm being real with you. There's no, hey, Uncle KJ. It's none of this. They barely look at me. So, my mom and dad, the things I've showed them and talked, it freaks them out. I quit talking about it a long time ago. We don't even mention it. There's no mention of anything I know, anything I see. When I talk to them, I joke around. I ask about the family, even though most of the family don't care about me. And that's the truth. I still ask how they're doing. And I just do it that way. But the truth of the matter is, I've known, again, ever since I was a little boy, that it's temporary what I'm doing here. I love God. I love Jesus. They know me. They're my best friends. It's not some weird guy in a corner talking to imaginary friends. Like, I know they're with me. And I accept that. And I never expected a perfect life. If you get a perfect life on earth, you're not going to want to let go of it. We need to have drama. We need to have issues. We need to have fights and battles. It's all part of it. So it's made me the person I am today. When I'm around the family, I went back in May for my nephew's graduation. I'm always kind. I'm always nice. I give gifts. I joke around. I try to keep it light. That's how we do. But it is what it is, man. I mean, her and I will never be close. I don't care about it. I don't care if I'm close to that side of the family either. Maybe it's because I'm adopted. I've always felt kind of like a loner, I really have. And man, I've got friends all over. And again, I can be the first at the party and the last to leave, and I'll keep you laughing. We'll have fun. I can be that guy. But at the end of the day, I know that it's just me. It's my Heavenly Father. It's my Lord Jesus Christ. That's it. My best friends. That's what matters, And yeah, so family to me, I don't know. And that's what's weird being here in Central America is family's huge to the Latino culture, man. It is family first. And I so greatly respect that. I think it's great. But I don't know, man. That's just good. Did that answer your question or am I rambling here?
Yeah. And also, I have another question. Does your family celebrate Christmas or something?
Yeah, they do. They all celebrate Christmas. But again, it's just like such a pagan ceremony. And I'll send us some $50 gift cards your way, guys, in a few weeks or a week. And it's Merry Xmas, I guess. But I don't care about it. I know the pagan origins of it. I don't even like putting trees up and things like that. I just don't care. But I put on a good face to my family because, well, aside from the sister stuff, my mom and dad are freaking amazing. I love them and they love me and we're all crazy about each other. It's great. They don't get what I do, but they support me. No matter what I do, they're like, well, it's weird, KJ. We think you're kind of cuckoo, but we love you and we'll do whatever, we're with you no matter what. And that's fine by me. But Christmas, man, if I could get around it, I would never celebrate it. I just do it for the family. I'll send them some gifts. Even the sister and the kids that don't like me, and my brother-in-law thinks I'm a moron, an idiot. They look at the videos, they think I'm a dumbass. I'm not even kidding. This is what they do. They tell people that work for my father. My dad runs his own company. KJ's an idiot. You see these dumb videos? I mean, that's the way it is. So you see what I'm saying? But I mean, dude, whatever. I'm cool with it. I live in a Central American paradise with a great cat, cool girlfriend, nice friends here. I got 2 friends coming down to actually celebrate Christmas of all things here in Costa Rica. And I said, well, don't expect a lot of, Christmas trees and this and that or whatever. We'll do some Feliz Navidad, but let's go to the beach. Let's have a couple of cervezas and let's just enjoy the sunset, So we're going to do it that way.
Yeah, it's same here. Some people in the family thinks I'm, nuts and I'm crazy and, it's fake and they just laugh it off.
Just go with it, man. That's part of it. It's okay. Remember, if we didn't have trouble and people fighting against us and family turning against us, whatever it is, man, we're not on the right path. It's not supposed to be easy. We're going to have to lose some stuff. It's not going to be easy. We're going to have to fight some battles and you're going to lose some friends and some girlfriends and reputation among some people. And it's just going to be a part of it. And whatever. It's good. So when we see the forces coming against us, when I was hacked by this dum-dum, or these 2 dum-dums, which is what my friends are convinced of, I didn't freak out or get mad. I just said, thank you, Father. You're showing me that at least I'm having an impact. The enemy in whatever form is coming against me. I know I'm doing something good. So thank you for showing me that, But at the same time, don't shut down my YouTube channel, or anything like that. But, but even with that, honestly, if something like that happened, no matter what, the worst case scenarios, I know I'll be protected. I know I'm taken care of and it'll be good. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it really does. And yeah, and I want to say that I really love your stories.
Well, thanks, man. Hey, it's nice. It's nice chatting to you. Like I said, we had 1 or 2 people. Who is this kid this KJ's talking to? Who is this guy? Not many, just a couple. Most people are supporting you. This has been a great conversation, man. I love talking to you. You're a younger generation. You're welcome. It's good to hear your perspectives, and I want you to know that you're not alone. You're not the only person that's waking up, and you're going to be just fine,
Yeah, and I think people think that, every young people, are dumb, and I just want to say there are few young people who are just like me. So I just want to encourage people that there's many young kids who are, just like you. I just want to say that.
Well, thanks, man. Well, hey, you know what I'm going to do, Epic? I guess I'm going to go ahead and shut her down for now with you and I, and it's just so I can kind of jump over to the chat and talk to them for a little bit, because we're about 2.5 hours in. I didn't even realize we've gone this far. It's been nice talking to you, man.
Yeah, thanks. You too.
Well, you're welcome. Well, is there anything you want to say before we go? Anything you want to say to the audience?
I don't know. Thank you for taking your time watching me talking to Kay, I think. And yeah, God bless.
You're welcome. I was just thinking about this. Some people can brag. I see a lot of shows will get big people on that have written books or done this or done that and talking about conspiracies. And you see, I never do that. I don't want the big names out there. I love talking to the people. And man, talking to you, a young man that is during this time, this awakening and hearing your perspectives has been a real blessing. So thank you, Epic. We'll do it again sometime, okay?
Yeah, have a good day and yeah. Bye,
Take
everyone.
care. All right, take care, man. I'll see you next time.
Bye.
All right, so let me jump over here and Epic again. Thanks, man. It was really nice talking to you. Listen, this is the way here, Rascal. Everyone hears you meowing. What you want? Come here. What you want? He's being grumpy. He probably wants to go outside. I've got him locked in right now. But conversations like that matter a lot to me, personally. You can go anywhere else and hear all the other handful of people that write books and do this and talk about the end times and all this, and fair enough. It's no offense to any of them. They're great and they serve their purpose. I like talking to the people. And I love that we just talked to a young man, 16 years old, that's awake. I didn't realize we'd go 2.5 hours. I thought it'd go maybe an hour, and then I'd jump into chat with you guys, but it is what it is. So I'm going to jump over here to chat now, though, and thanks again, Epic. Man, you're awesome. Hang in there, brother. You're going to be just fine. In fact, you're a light. You're a beacon to other people your age. So hang in there. Realize we're a little weird. We're a little different than the rest of the world, but you'll learn to put your mask on and fit in with people. And when you have that time that you can with your friends who are lost and unaware, you can wake them up or try to, okay? So God bless you, man. Thank you. Now let me jump over here to the chat for a sec and just say hi to some people. See what's on your minds. See what you're talking about. There's Pandora Quinn again. Always great to see you. Yvonne Alexander, great to see you. Thanks. Emma DeVries, I always say your name wrong. Thank you. Great to see you. Murphy Ben Ninja, thank you. Twitwit, I love you, Twitwit. One of these days we're gonna have to just get this taken care of. We'll have our we can't do a pagan wedding ceremony. We'll figure something else out. But anyway, good to see you, Twitwit. Morningstar One, how are you? Nice to see you. Chase DeLong says Freeman Fly. Ty Jen, I love you, Ty Jen. Good to see you. Scooting on down, Miss Blue, how you doing? Still scrolling down a bit, just 70-second humans in the house. Nice to see you, my friend. And if any of y'all have any questions or anything that you want to bring up, let me know. I'm just kind of doing a last check here, and we'll just kind of go from there. I'm in no rush to get off, but if there's nothing to chat about, we'll just move on. There's Jasmine McDuffie. She says, wow, KJ, your testimony has literally given me hope and refreshed me in the Holy Spirit. And I thank you. I'm humbled immediately. God bless you in Jesus' name. Thanks for all you do, man. You're truly blessed. Thank you, Jasmine. Well, I'm glad it helps somehow. Seriously. Thank you. That's what this is all about, so thank you. Miss Blue Bryan says, hi, Rascal. Pandora Quinn says, hi, Rascal. There it is. Karen Winston, Dario Argento. Thank you. That's his name. That was the name of the guy I was writing the animated series for, is Dario Argento. What's up, Jeffrey Lane? Looking for the truth. 100%. I see you, brother. Good to see you, man. How are you? I hope you're good. I'm going to still scroll on down a little bit here. Brooklyn Boy Production says KJ is happy he's getting some nookie. I don't know, man. It's about the person, honestly. It's not about the nookie. It's never been about the nookie for me, I'll be honest with you. And that goes back to not feeling a part of this realm. If I was just some other monkey like the rest of them, I'd be like, yeah, let's go bang that broad, dude. Hey, look at these boobs, bro. That's not me, man. It's connections. And I have to have a real connection there with somebody before I even consider, as Brooklyn Boy Production says, getting into that nookie. But that's another story altogether. And honestly, it's even that. I should probably not even be doing that stuff. I'm rambling. This is what we do. So let's scroll back here and let's see what else we got going on. Formula Infinity, how you doing? Good to see you. Scrolling on down. Jeffrey Lane says, hey, KG, it's my first time here. Well, Mr. Jeffrey Lane, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. Seriously, Jeffrey Lane, welcome here, man. Seriously, Jeffrey. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've gotten something out of it. Again, the show changes every week, guys. I have different ideas. We do different things. I appreciate you coming around. If you've heard one show and think that's it, you have no idea. Every week, this show changes, and that's the way I like it. We keep it interesting. We keep it different. And I know that no matter what subject we cover or what we do, it's reaching the people it needs to reach. You know what I mean? Hi, PJ Pony. You should get married on my farm. Okay, I'll let you know when I'm ready. I don't know if this is the right one yet. Don't tell her. Luckily, she doesn't know much English. Okay, I'm being a jerk now. Morningstar One, thank you. Gangrene Films, good to see you, brother. And I'm just taking my time, guys. Hey, let me tell you something. We've been here, 2.5 hours? It didn't even feel like it for me. So thank you. Each and every one of you have been here and are still hanging out. We got a great crowd going. And I appreciate you, man. Yeah, Lori Chiov. I'm putting that into one of my videos. She says, Buzz Aldrin on his tweet, we are all in danger. It is evil itself. When an Antarctic with John Kerry, KG, any thoughts? So I'm putting that in a video already. I've got one. I'm putting that in, some thoughts on there. Buzz Aldrin, astronaut, died recently. Last tweet was a picture of the pyramid at the Antarctic. And he said, we are all in danger. It is evil itself. Right around the same time, John Kerry went out there to check out the Antarctic. I have a few ideas on this, Lord. I don't want to divulge it now because I'm not fully connecting a couple things I'm waiting on to see what I can find. But I think it's interesting. He showed the pyramid. We are all in danger. It is evil itself. The pyramid is the enemy. It's a representative or a representation of the enemy. Sorry. Hi, Sam Martinez. Hi, Darkwinged Angel. B Squared, good to see you. David Elkins, how you doing, my friend? Let's see, still scrolling on down. Farsam Shadad says, what's your channel in minds.com called? It's called KJ Osborne, OZBORNE, at minds.com. The videos I'm making there, I could never make on YouTube. These are videos I'm making with the handcuffs off. Total freedom, and I'm cutting my teeth there and getting ready for my main website. So I'm kind of learning the things I can do right now with these new tools, and you just wait. Wait till you see what I can do on the website. And I think you'll appreciate the videos on minds.com as well. They're different than anything you've seen from me before, so please go check those out and let me know what you think about them. And I'm scrolling on down. Hi, Beauty Bulletin, thank you. I'm glad it helped. Sherry Cases, good show, thanks. Tony Nash says, adoption ruined my life. I'm sorry to hear that, Tony. Every time I meet someone that's adopted, I feel a connection to them immediately. I've done a lot of research on adoption, on the psychology of people who are adopted, how it affects men and women differently. It also makes a lot of us exactly what I became, man. And what I always was a drifter and a gypsy. Lived in 9 different states in America. Now I'm in Central America. I've traveled tons of states out here. Not tons, but a few. I've never felt like I belonged, but I can make you believe I belong. Any group I meet, I can connect with. I can be the life of the party. Trust me. But there's always that private side where it's like, I don't, it's just temporary. I don't really feel a connection to here, no roots. Many of us like that, connected with the fact, the empathic qualities that I have as well. But you put all that together and it makes us, loners in a lot of sense. But at the same time, like I said, I love people and I can get along with anybody. But I can also be alone for long periods of time and be fine with it, But I'm rambling. See what else we got here. Jamie, that's nice. She says, or he says, I'm not sure, by Epic or too epic, we will pray for your sleep paralysis, read scripture. That's wonderful. Thanks, Jamie, for throwing that out there. I guess I could have mentioned more of that as well. I'm sorry, Epic. But again, I believe that, we have that power, man. Just own it. Accept it. Know that you have it through Christ Jesus and that we can defeat these entities, okay? Hi, Minister Mark. Good, nice to see you. Run to Christ. Good to see you as well. And still scrolling down. Oh, let's see here. Brooklyn Boy Productions. Yeah, he says, KG, would you like me to talk about my Masonic days? Sometime. Probably not tonight. I have to be careful about putting a link in because there's one person that sits around here waiting for that has multiple accounts that likes to jump in and try to hack the show or something. If anybody out there would like to talk to me or jump on the show and chat about your experiences, please send me an email to thescariestmovieever@gmail.com, and that's how I'll jump you guys in because I can give you a link on Skype through that. We can communicate there. And that's for next week. If any of you are listening right now, you want to come on next week and talk about whatever, jump in, man. Send me an email, and I'll get you a link. We'll get on there. It's got to be careful because there's a particular person that's really watching the channel right now. So, and I don't, we're not scared of them, but again, they're waiting on the link so they can jump in again. And this is, the retarded stuff that retarded trolls do, internet trolls in the truth community, I guess you could say. Murphy Ninja just said, do you have email, KJ? Yes, I do. It's one I just mentioned, the scariest movie ever at KJ, or I'm sorry, the scariest movie ever at gmail.com. So send me an email, okay? And Jay Mallet says he's here for my cat. Thanks. And thanks, David Sloan. I'm glad you enjoyed the show. Hi, Farasha. Hi, Chase DeLong. He wants to give his testimony. Man, again, Chase, well, again, I've almost gone 3 hours, so I'm probably going to shut her down here in a bit. But send me an email, and I can set up a team, and I'll get you guys on next week. I want to talk to you, so please don't be shy. The scariest movie ever at gmail.com. If you'd like to jump on, I don't care what subject you want to cover. If you want to come on and talk, let's do it. You saw how good it went. I think it went good tonight with our friend tonight, Epic Z. It's a 16-year-old young man, and it was a pleasure speaking with him. But I can talk to anybody. So if you want to come on, I don't care what the subject is, get in here, okay? Come on, get on. Come on, get in here. There's Effie. How you doing, Effie? She says there's a lot of questions. Juan Manuel says, what's your take on Anthony Patch? It's funny because I asked Richie from Boston that a while back, like just me and him. I'm like, is he legit? Is he good? Because I wasn't sure, but it seems like he's a good guy. My only, and this isn't with Anthony, but a while back, this is about a year ago, he was doing a chat show with another YouTube channel called Pseudo Realities, Pseudo, Pseudo Realities. And the main lady her name's Heidi. And this is back when Round Saturn's Eye got busted running a Christian channel and at the same time running a channel where he was mocking conspiracies and using all the Illuminati symbols, and he was living the dual existence. And it was really dark there for a while. And he got busted really hard. And I had done some interviews with him on my radio shows, so I had some people were trying to associate me with him. Oh, you're a piece of trash, KJ. You're one of them. You're connected to Round Saturn's Eye, aren't you? Well, as Heidi was one of the worst people about that. And I'd first seen her with Anthony Patch on this little chat show they did. And then I reached out to her at one point because I wanted her to be on my show, on the Catching Up with KJ show, to talk to her. Then about a week later, that stuff happened. And then she started turning it against me. And next thing you know, I saw her, I won't mention the channel's names, but she was on some channels of what I think are witches here on internet, or here on YouTube, here on internet, here on the YouTube, here on that YouTube. You ever heard of that YouTube? But it got really ugly. I don't want to get too much into it. I busted her. I showed you guys the emails on the Catching Up with KJ show. I busted her so hard, we busted this witch and her filthy little coven that are on here on YouTube, that this broad, I almost said it, this broad shut her YouTube channel down. So we shut her down, and it felt good. These fakes, these frauds, and they come at you with the religious stuff. You're not a Christian. You didn't. It's annoying. But the truth wins, Heidi, you idiot, from Pseudo Realities. We busted her. But she was connected with Anthony Patch, so I didn't trust him for a real long time because I thought he was a part of all that. And then I saw he was getting attacked, and he left YouTube for a while, and he came back. So I don't know. Maybe one of these days me and Richie and Anthony can talk, and I can make up my mind. Completely, it's not to knock him down again. It was just guilt by association. And then I get a bit paranoid sometimes because you have this happen so often. I'm a good person, a kind person. I let people in, and then suddenly you're like, oh, this person's a jerk. You know, they're part of a cult, or they're a witch, or they're a pagan, or they're a Satanist, and they're trying to get you on something, you know? So I don't know. I hope he's a good guy. Hard to tell these days sometimes, man, you know? Hard to tell these days sometimes. But she was a witch. So dirty. Like I said, it felt so good busting her, showing you guys the truth. Witch. Jay Mallet said Rise is not a witch. I never said that. But I don't follow him. I blocked him over a year ago. I don't follow his channel. The whole thing freaked me out that he was doing. Good for him if he's still in it. I don't know. I don't care. You know, I've got my mission to do, and I really don't like getting into things with other channels and all this. There's dumb little truther channels on YouTube that love doing that. They love making videos on other people and calling people shills and filthy little rats. These people are disgusting. I spit on them. I spit on that filth because there's too much of it in so-called truther communities. There's also a lot of hacks. I won't name names. There are a lot of channels that will take knowledge that was imparted years ago on YouTube, the occult knowledge on things, they repackage it and put it on their channels, and they throw ads on there, and they act like it's their original information. And gosh, I could bust some people. I really could. But I know enough. I don't like to get involved in it. Like I said, you don't throw your pearls to the swine. I'm rambling, and this is what I do. So we scroll down. Let's see. There's a lot of people asking about rounds. I don't care. Round Saturn's Eye, is he a shill? Yeah, when he did that, I was done. That's it. I wish him the best. I don't look at his channel or his videos. You'd be surprised what I'm actually subbed to. I don't sub to a lot of this. I don't sub to a lot of other so-called truthers. You'd probably be surprised, you know. So let's see. We're going to scroll down here. Let's see what you guys have to think about all that. I see mixed emotions on Anthony Patch. Like, I don't know, man. I wish him the best. I don't know. There's a lot of. It's not just shills in this community. There's a lot of people that I don't know, man. They talk a good game, but I just don't trust them. It's just me, man. I don't trust a lot of people. That's it. I just don't. You know, I don't trust a lot of people in these communities because I see it eating itself. You know, it's too bad. Chased along. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. I won't say the name, but yeah, we got little D-bags on YouTube that call themselves truthers for sure. Sherry K says, I like RSE. He came clean, and who am I to judge? Now, that's good. Fair enough. I mean, it's not, I don't know. There's a difference to me on judgment and just being wise and being careful that, you know, birds of a feather flock together, being careful who you throw your trust to. I'm the same way. You know, I did a little bit of a chat show with Jeff from New World Agenda not long ago, and he brought a call for an uprising on, and we had real talk there because the call was so kind to me. And he's like, why are you blocking me? And I had blocked a call for an uprising for months because I wasn't sure about him. I didn't know. I felt like I didn't know if I could trust him. I wasn't sure. So, guys, the same thing some of you feel towards even me. Is KG real? Is he a shill? I feel that way towards other people. But I'm so glad we had that talk because I realized he's a great dude, very kind. And, you know, he's in the struggle just like the rest of us in so many ways. So I got nothing bad to say about him. I feel like a jerk, but I do that to a lot of people. I block them first, and then as time goes on, I kind of learn to trust him. But he seemed like a really good man. He's going through a lot. He's taking a break, and good for him. We got to do that from time to time. Those of us that expose these things, we internalize these things, you know, and it's not for everybody. I'll just say that. But I think he's a good guy. I think he's a warrior, and wish him the best. So let's keep scrolling down here and see what else we got, and see what else, if there's any talks going on. Oh, Pandora, you're cute. Thanks. I see a lot of people talking Black Child. Good for you. I love Black Child. I've been subbed to him for years. I always share his videos whenever I see them up. I tried to get him on my radio show a couple of years ago, but he wasn't down just because I don't think he wants that kind of attention, and fair enough. I love Black Child, though, man. I love him. Again, look at the kind of people that attack. There's some people I have so much respect for on YouTube, and I could tell you, I know they're real. And there's a bunch, and I hate to start going down the list because I know I'm going to miss some people here and there, but most of you have been with me for a long time, know who I'm talking about. But there are some great originals and good people out there. And now it's sad because not only are they having to deal with other YouTubers and their multiple accounts hacking and, not hacking, but some hacking, but also just trashing their channels. They use multiple accounts to make it look like everyone hates them. They put comments in their sections and all this, just dumbass trolls, pardon the language anyway, that you got to deal with. But not only are we dealing with that, now we have the actual system turning against us. So if you like our information and care about really the truth and people trying to find the truth and sharing the truth, buckle in, because God only knows how long there's any of us left. Like I said, we're already dealing with other YouTube haters creating channels to stalk us and harass us, flag our videos. You've got the actual system turning against you now. You've got YouTube heroes and dumb stuff like this coming at you. So can you see how some of us may disappear someday? I don't plan on it. I pray for my protection through my Heavenly Father, through the Messiah, Son of God. I'm blessed to still be here, and so are so many other people out there. But as time goes on, I'm telling you, if it gets bad, then all these little trolls and jerks and paid agents and all this, I have exactly what they want, a retarded YouTube. YouTube for the dumbass. Hey, look, that guy farted in that guy's face. 5 million views. 5 million. Hey, look, that cat's playing with a string. 6 million views. 24 hours. You're going to have retardation. And the few so-called truths you have left are going to be the biggest shills, idiots, liars, and fakes that are left. You've destroyed the rest of us. So let's hope that doesn't come. I just saw somebody ask if my girlfriend is a truther. No, she doesn't understand most of this, but what she does do is she loves Jesus Christ and she loves God, and that's enough for me. So I don't spend a lot of time talking about all this stuff with her. In fact, we escape it. We go into nature. You know, I'm not married. At least I never got married. This is a casual girlfriend, I guess you could say. I walk the line with all these relationships. You know, it's hard to get to know me maybe sometimes in real life for some people, but it's nice. It's sweet. She loves Christ. She loves God. That's good enough for me. You know what I mean? And we already have the language barrier. How am I going to talk to her about the Rothschild bloodlines? You know what I mean? How am I going to get into stuff like this, the heavier stuff? Hey, let's talk about Pizzagate. Huh? All right, let's go grab a milkshake and go to the mountain, go up higher up in the mountain and go look at scenery. Okay, you know, that we can do, you know. So I keep it like that. It's a balance because, you know, I live this stuff. You know, I carry it with me. So it's nice to have somebody around that doesn't need to know all this and doesn't ask me questions about it, you know. Let's keep scrolling down. Justin Villada says, what do you think of the vigilant Christian Mario? Here's what happens. As all the censorship grows and it's getting more insane, I'm trusting other big channels that are into the truth more than I ever had before. I used to not at all. But now that we're all dealing with the same censorship, and I could see that there's a potential where what if they wiped us all out? And again, you have these dumb little fake hoax troll truther channels running stuff. There'd be nothing left. It'd be retarded fake truther channels, people farting in each other's faces, and cats playing with string. Oh, and little kids hitting their dads in the balls on accident with things. Total idiocracy. So there's your future. So as I see all this stuff happening, I'm growing to where I trust a lot of bigger other YouTube truthers more and more, you know. And I also don't, like, I'm not one to make videos on people. I don't care about all that. I just say for each individual, use your own logic, reason, critical thinking, your spiritual discernment, and take what you need from all of us, eat the meat and leave the bones. Let's see what else we got down here. Still scrolling down a bit. I see a lot of people saying they'll pray for me. Thanks. Hi, Camille. Graham says, anyone ever watch Scrawny to Brawny? Another friend of mine on YouTube. Been friends for a long time. I like his videos. I like him. I think he's into flat earth as well. That's another one of those guys I just respect so much. It's like, you know, we can agree to disagree on that subject, but the rest I am down. He seems like a good guy. You know, I've liked him for a long time. So I'm still scrolling down here. Let's see what else we got. V3SAGO, have you seen Jonathan Kleck's latest videos? What are your thoughts? I mentioned earlier, maybe you weren't here, I'm friends with Jonathan. I watch all of his videos, and I love Jonathan as a brother and a friend in real life. It pains me to see people like, he's a fallen angel. Did you see he's a fallen these, and there it's always people with religious channels, Jesus all over the place, scriptures, supposed to be the sweetest people ever, supposed to really be following the ways of Christ, and they hate this guy. They hate Jonathan. They think he's a false prophet, and they throw all these terms on him. It's like, yeah, I don't believe, I'm not with everything any human being says, but I love Jonathan. I know he's sincere. He's real. His work has actually helped me out a lot, woke me up a lot, and I love him. And I go look at these freaking haters that call themselves Christians. They got nothing. Where it's like, time to read the Bible. Like 20 minutes of them reading out of the Bible. You know, boring, boring, boring. Your religion is boring. Stop it. You're not helping anybody. It's an echo chamber. This is real war we're in, and Jonathan Kleck is a warrior. I'll leave it at that. This much I believe. But you freaking little jerk, so-called fake Christians, Pharisees, love trashing Jonathan and other people, even friends of his. Like, KJ's friends with Jonathan. KJ think we father they doth. Dumb. Idiots. Idiots. Pray. It's time to think. Okay? Think outside the bun, hun. Get real. Get real. Dum-dums. You freaking dum-dums. I love Jonathan. He's my brother. Doesn't mean I accept everything he's into and says or whatever, but there's enough. You dum-dums. You mean little fake little legalist, pharisaical Christians on YouTube. I just can't stand you. Can't stand you. You're helping nobody. Got it? Nobody. Nobody. Chuck Benini, I know you don't like Jonathan. I see you complain about him a lot. I understand his interpretations. And again, there's some things I may not agree with, but there's things you say I don't agree with. There's things other people say I don't agree with. Do I throw the baby out with the bathwater? Do I hate my Christian brothers and sisters that come from different denominations and different beliefs and believe things I will never believe? No, I love us all in Christ Jesus. I love all my brothers and sisters in Christ. That's it. Okay? So sick of seeing people shit all over Jonathan. I'll say that. You're shitting on him. And these are your good Christians, right? Your good Christians. You've destroyed that term. It's a bunch of ex-gens. Ex-gens. That's what I believe. It's not just with Jonathan. It's other people as well. Ex-gens. If I'm not a part of your pharisaical echo chamber, then I'm a bad man. I'm evil. Oh my gosh, you people are so asleep. But I know you think you're the ones who are awake and we're the ones who are asleep. So why do we get involved in these debates? That's why I don't. I continue what I do, and I accept there's going to be so-called Christians, the Pharisees, the more religious, that are going to shit all over us, that are thinking outside the box. Got it? Good. Don't come around my channel. I just block you. That's it. It's annoying. Annoying. Might as well get a paycheck from YouTube, some of you. No, I'm not Mark Dice. Whoever the tard is that said that, we need to get rid of you. You're probably one of the same tards that thinks that Alex Jones is Bill Hicks. It's one of the most retarded things I've ever heard on the internet. I wonder who talks about this stupid stuff. And in term is intern Primus Music. Are you even a real channel? I wonder if KJ's Mark Dice. Please don't be one of those retards. I'm sorry. Hey guys, Katy Perry is really jumping a Ramsey. Oh my goodness. People like you're the ones that are bringing the heat on people trying to share truth, man. Alex Jones is Bill Hicks. Dum-dums. How do you people have subs? Dum-dums. Freaking dum-dums. All right, so what else we got? We got almost 3 hours tonight. Let's see if we have any new comments going on. Guys, I appreciate, once again, all of you being here, okay? I appreciate you. I'm having some fun. I'm getting a little loose. What can I say? We're having some fun. But I'm sick of the judgment. Freaking dum-dums. Sick of the judgment. Focus more on your own walk with Christ. Stop worrying about the messengers all the time. God's got a lot of different messengers out here. Someone said KJ lost it. No, I haven't lost it. Someone says I'm tripping. I ain't tripping. All right. I'm just having a little fun and getting a little loose. But this stuff is annoying. It really is. It's annoying. Somebody else, KJ's Mark Dice. Come on, people. Alex Jones is Bill Hicks. John Benet Ramsey is Katy Perry. People, like you said, man, people like that come up with this dumb stuff and get it out there, man. You're making the rest of us look really retarded. And that's probably what you're getting paid for, or what your ultimate goal is. I don't know. But don't worry, I haven't lost my mind. KG's not going cuckoo, cuckoo. You know, I'm still here. Just having a little fun. But this stuff gets really annoying, like I said. All these fake little Christians, fake little religious people, that I see nothing of Christ in you. All I see is judgment and division. And I'll leave on that. All right. I'll leave on that, guys. Much love to you. I appreciate that you've all been here this evening. It's been a great Saturday night. We did about 3 hours. We've had a wonderful crowd. So thank you all so much for being here. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you had a little bit of fun. And like I said, man, God bless you guys. This is open conversation. If you want to come on next week and chat with me about whatever you want to talk about, just hit me up on thescariestmovieever@gmail.com. We'll chat, and then I'll try to get you on here next week. And That's it. I don't want to keep rambling. Much love to you guys. We had a good show, I think, didn't we? Or did we? We have a good show. I think we did. It was great talking to Epic. Thanks again, Epic, for coming on tonight. You're awesome. It's love to see these young people who are wide awake and talking to them about what they deal with, because, you know, we all have to deal with stuff on this walk, right? So God bless you. Take care, guys. I got videos coming this week. My website will be up really soon. I'm still fighting with YouTube a bit, but I've got some great videos coming there as well. Take care.